2019, I don't know. Things like players' union advice and things like that. Open for debate as well. Again, it's one of the things I want
Somebody say something.
to chat to you about.
Hello?
Where do we get to with the...
In the November issue, I wrote a letter to you. And you were very encouraging, whilst also chastising to a degree.
Welcome back to Guerrilla Cricket's coverage of this deciding one-day international in Cuttack between India and the West Indies, and it is beautifully poised after the West Indies posted 315 for 5 in their 50 overs. Nicholas Pooran top scoring with 89. Navdeep Saini on debut impressing with 2 for 58, but lower order hitting from Pollard. Pooran got West Indies to a very competitive total, we think. And I have Jules on my right, who's lining up the jingles. And for the first time today, we're going to say hello to David Brooke, who'll be reading out your tweets.
Hello, Rog. Hello, Jules.
David.
Hello, everyone.
And we've been discussing in the green room, 315, pretty competitive score. Jules, who's your money on?
West Indies. What we were saying, well, it's kind of got a little bit slow and sludgy in the middle. And Mash was looking a little bit depressed, and we had to crack out the mulled wine. And then Pooran and Pollard came in, and then that was the party starting, really, which was great to see. You can always tell when India are a little bit down in the tether because Kohli starts pouting in the field, which is always good to see.
Yeah, it wasn't perfect cricket from either side, but it was really enthralling.
Great partnership, wasn't it? I mean, at one stage, I know there was a bit of gloom and doom and the West Indies side in the commentary box earlier on, but that partnership between Pooran and Pollard has certainly given West Indies an outstanding chance. Not a favourites chance, because the odds on is still India, but a few of us have taken advantage of the odds available on West Indies. We may live to regret it.
Well, the first thing West Indies will try and get through is this fabled opening pair, which we will jingle up for you now. Yes, he'll be down the striker's end, and his partner with him, men who both racked up hundreds in the last game, is this fellow.
Having a bit of a mare with my jingles.
Whilst we're looking for the jingle, if I could just... I mean, Mashal said before that India will have to play well to get this score. At least it's a challenging total. And... yeah, it's all about whether there's any score that can contain this Indian batting lineup. It really gets going, and have West Indies got the bowlers to keep India quiet? I mean, Roston Chase for one's going to have to bowl better than he did in the second ODI on Wednesday when he got a version of the yips, I think.
Well, we're good to go. The first ball to Rohit is defended out to backward point. Let's hear about that other batsman.
Excuse me.
And there's a left-arm Jamaican charging in with a second ball. It swings into Rohit. He plays and misses. Beats the outside edge. Straight through the keeper. Our bowler is this gent.
Very chilling jingle, though.
It is rather. Sheldon's a rather more genial fellow, but he does certainly a bit of. And he's firing into the crease now, straight and driven back to him. He picks up and threatens a shy, but he's 3 dots so far, and the crowd have come to life, which David's delighted about. And certainly, there looks like a fantastic atmosphere out there in Cuttack, in the Orissa province.
Yeah, I was listening to you on the way down, and I noticed that you'd had the crowd effects. The crowd mic was turned down, and it makes a big difference, I think.
Yeah, I think so. There's nothing like that. An atmosphere to Indian ODI is a noisy one. This one's left alone. Good carry through to Hope. Very watchful as Rohit, and that one Sheldon will be looking for any kind of
That's
anything
true.
under this track.
Yeah, Knuckles making the point that Indian crowd always livens up when India are batting. That accords with my experience as well. So India are batting now. So if you're listening to us on Crick Tracker, let us know where you are and let us know who you think is going to win. Tweet us at Gorilla Cricket.
Sheldon swinging one into the pads, driven out to extra cover, well fielded, still no run.
Or message us, of course, on Facebook, Crick Tracker, which is probably more likely.
Great fielding there by Pollard, given the fact he's just had an almighty innings. He got straight onto that ball, straight down at mid-wicket to field it. So he's absolutely primed and ready. And we were just talking in the green room, actually. We did a podcast about 2 months ago about Pollard coming back in the side. Mash was very, very pro. Dave kind of fell on his sword a little bit.
Back over length, Cottrell is defended, and he's joined up the dots with a maiden to start.
That's fair comment, Jules. Yeah, I tell you what I was concerned about, and Mash wasn't. Mash thought that he would be a brilliant captain, and he's turned out to be the case. He was a very impressive captain. I was concerned because he'd been playing only domestic T20 in the last few years that, I wasn't worried about T20 captaincy, but I just wondered whether he would step up to the plate in terms of the ODI, and especially whether he'd be able to score runs in ODIs. But he's proved, I'm happy to say, he's really proved me wrong. It was a fantastic innings today.
I think the other beauty about Pollard as well, because he's been used to getting those really quick runs in the T20s, he's been like a touring linchpin of actually getting runs and helping to get sides over the line. I'm saying this in the context of seeing him play for Somerset was brilliant fun. But he's done that the world over, and I think that actually that's helped him get this game bizarrely. A lot of people are very critical on T20s, but actually for Pollard, he's reversing that trend and that idea that actually T20s do harm the game.
Yeah, there was real intent in his innings today. It was almost like 3 years or 4 years in the wilderness. I'm going to show everyone. There was anger in his game. He's not smiling and happy when he got to his 50. It was like, I'm proving people wrong here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Second over begins, spear down the leg side, and Rahul plays this really neatly off his pads, right out of the meat of the bat, and it flies down to deep backward square to get Indians total off the mark. And it was hit off the bowling of this man. Yeah, got what it deserved, that leg side half volley, leg stump half volley, and Rahul very neatly dispatched it. And we spoke of how good he looked in that last match where he got 102. He was by far the more fluent of the two openers in that innings, and it's always a good feeling when a batsman can get a juicy one out of the meat of the bat first ball. This time he's defending, it doesn't time this one, he's looking to punch it in the offside, but just dribbles down. There's no run.
Oh, hello, Annie. Annie's been in touch. Brilliant listening to the fabulous Gorilla Cricket coverage, where not every six is described as a maximum. Looking forward to the second innings. Could be a thriller. Genro, you're obviously tuning in during the innings break. You said the tune-in feed. Are you broadcasting? You've asked. Yes, we are. The tune-in feed sounds like shortwave radio. Not anymore. Well, surely not. Leah, India need to show intent. West Indies firmly in control, but all three results still possible. Well said, Leah. And Anirudh has been in touch and says it's not about dropping Pant, but maybe have Samson as backup and a few games here and there to see what we've got. Is that a reference to the number of catches that Pant dropped today behind the stumps?
Yeah, he put down one straightforward one, certainly Roston Chase's second ball off Kuldeep, and then there were a couple of little dribbly ones that he got gloves to, and there was a top edge that he palmed us, so there's at least 3-4 drops even. Rahul defending this one out into the offside. There was a bit of a delay there about some sight screen issues, but they're good to go again. And yeah, Pant is always a figure of debate, isn't he, especially when he's inheriting those gloves from the great MS Dhoni. And he's not the most natural of glove men, but who are in today's international scene, really?
I think that's an interesting question.
Well, you're just stoking the fire for me here. It's one of my biggest bugbears. People don't look for wicket keepers, they look for batsmen these days.
Holder cramping Rahul for room, but they looked to get a single in the offside and they changed their minds. Puran was really onto it, and that's good signs from the West Indies infield.
Yeah, these opening overs pretty key. Crucial half hour. Crucial first half hour, because if you remember in the last on Wednesday's game, both the opening bowlers sprayed it around a bit and India got off to a flyer. And, Cottrell bowled, was that a maiden over in the first over? Yeah, so it's up to Holder to match that now.
Yeah, and he's running in with intent now. Wide of the crease and right on the money, and Rahul defends on the offside. And that was a minimum.
Where did the word maximum come from? It's Mark Nicholas crap, isn't it?
No,
I
I
just
think
hate
it's.
it.
I don't think it's Martin Nicholas. I think it's more likely to be what's his name, the New Zealander.
Danny Morrison.
Thank you, Danny
or Ravi
Morrison.
Shastri, maybe. No, you
Horrendous
can't be
word.
traducing Mark Nicholas in this room, Jules.
You did just give me a very withering look. I mean, are you?
You got two Mark Nicholas fans here.
Yeah. This one, hint of swing. No, you can say what you like. It's well defended by Rahul. End of the over, just 4 from it. It's 4 for none.
Lots of people listening in on Crick Tracker, Facebook. Imran Hamati wants a word on Kohli's captaincy. What's your word for it, Imran? Karanaravindra Das. Good chase for India. Yes, absolutely. Vishnu Kumar Naidu Konakula. What a great name. Says ha. So would I, with a name as wonderful as that. Ramesh Rez says West Indies win. And Keisha Ruiz just wants to say hello. Karen Avinda Das says India have the batsman to do the job. SK Yisin says hello. Ramesh Rez again says hi. Cynthia Nankoma, hello Cynthia. And Sunil Yadav, India to win the series. And Santosh Singh.
We're back underway, and Rohit is underway with a lovely clip through mid-wicket off Cottrell for one of these. Lovely shot, just leant on it, turned the wrists. It was a full toss, in fact, so easy pickings.
Knuckles back to make some reparations to the sound balance. Knuckle Ravi wanted to know, was that the knuckle duster in the foreground as you set up? It was.
That's very good. Sheldon's got to be back on his mark. This one's a decent length outside of stump. Rohit just lets it go through.
He has a very bouncy leap. I've seen Cottrell bowl quite a few times this year. I've never really noticed how much he really jumps and gathers up and then lays the ball down. It's an absolutely extraordinary action.
Yeah, and he's whirling arms as well. He's quite unlike any bowler, really. I'm trying to think of any comparisons.
Ooh.
It's not it's a steady run up, and then he really flings himself in. This is Rohit square driving beautifully through the gaps on the onside for one of these.
Yeah, a little bit of Zahir Khan.
Yeah, Zahir Khan is a good comparison if you want it in terms of the delivery stride. But there's a lovely bit of batting from Rohit. He was advancing down the pitch, and maybe Cottrell saw him coming, threw it out a bit wider, but Rohit was able to free his arms, and it was the way he threaded it through that busy offside field as well, which has impressed me. There's a backward point, there's a man just in front of square, just right on the edge of the circle, and they're walking in now as this one's edge, genuine edge along the ground, down to third man, where Hetmeyer scoops up. Just a single to Rohit, but a moral victory to the bowler.
Indeed, I've got to pick Knuckles' brain about which team signed up Sheldon Cottrell in the IPL draft. Knuckles going to get back to me on that one. I think he was purchased.
He was, certainly, yeah.
Be good to know Puran as well. Kings 11. He's retained by Kings 11 Punjab, yeah. It'll be the first time in the IPL for Sheldon Cottrell, and he deserves his chance with that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been box office this year to watch, actually.
Yeah, he has. He's really taken on the mantle of, lead strike bowler for West Indies.
He's now back of a length, and Rahul is content to just dab this down to third man. If they push hard, they should get two. And they don't even need to push hard. Hetmeyer had to put in a dive. In fact, it was really screamed along the outfield there, and but Hetmeyer did well, kept it into 2 runs.
Knuckles confirmed that Sheldon Cottrell will be keeping Nicholas Puran company in the IPL for Kings 11 Punjab. So both West Indians will be on display in for that team.
It's been a very expensive over so far. It's gone for 11 so far, 1 ball left.
4 off the Jason Holder one before?
No, it's this over's
Oh
gone
yes,
for
this
11.
over. Beg your pardon. Yes.
And he tidies up his line and does finish with a dot. Rahul just nudged it to mid-wicket. 15 for none after 3.
It's a shame the first over was quite tidy, wasn't it? And then it's kind of gone a little bit awry in that one.
Yeah, in this series, Cottrell, his opening spell in the first game was very good. He had 2 wickets. I think he bowled a 5-over spell and got 2 key wickets of Rahul and Kohli. And then in the next match, he was a lot looser, and I think they had to give him the shepherd's crook after 3 overs. So he wants to finish strong, and he's given us a bit of both in this brief spell. What I liked that he did in the first game, he quickly assessed the pitch and realised there was a bit of grab in the pitch. So he took a bit of pace off, and he was mixing up his speeds, and that's how he got success. Maybe on these flatter pitches, he's a bit more one-dimensional. Cottrell, perhaps he does get that little bit of curve in, a little bit of swing in with a brand new nut. But if you can't be afford to be bowling full tosses and any width.
Well, I can see from your hand movements there, Roger, you're a seam bowler yourself. You look like left arm seam bowler.
I'm not a left armer. No, I am a bowler of right arm dibble. His holder comes in a bit pacier than that, and it's left alone by Rohit. But no, I'm just a keen student of Cottrell's variations.
Indeed. Tony Bishop. Hello, Tony. DB rocking a cool tip for It's My Bob Marley cap in protest that only one Jamaican in this team.
Yeah, and if you look, I'm representing a bit of West, a man whose name we mentioned earlier, the Master Blaster, who had his record broken. Can you believe that? Shea Hope beat him to 3,000 runs now. Rohit is beating this one deep into the stands. That's an enormous pull shot.
I could see the word maximum was on the tip of your tongue there, Rog. It was, wasn't it?
And it's poor from Holder, really. It's back of a length, but Rohit climbed into it so quickly, gave himself a little bit of room outside leg stump, and absolutely marmalised it. Let's see if anyone in the stand had a prayer. It would be good now. They kind of palmed it around themselves, but that would be a tricky one to take because that was really travelling. And Rohit is going 15 off 12. This time he leaves it alone as Holder corrects his length. But Rohit is that's sort of sleepy power where he can have a look at a couple, and then as soon as he recognises something hittable, he absolutely tonks it.
That went absolute nice. For anybody that's picked up, our jingles are a little bit on the quiet side. The age-old trick of putting the lead out, put it back in again, hopefully has fixed it. So we'll see how we go. It's a very heavy outside field again, actually. I just noticed.
Yes, almost 2 backward points, and Rohit now beats it, makes a mockery of them by cutting one just in front of square along the ground.
2 + 2 is
And Pollard will be a bit grumpy, but sure enough, he's on camera. His opening bowlers haven't got them off to the best start here. Lack of discipline, and this was wide and short and begging to be dispatched. And maybe if they had set a plan with these sort of 2 backward squares, but Holder's not quick enough to trouble a player like Rohit, and he had ample time to put that one in front of square for 4. Now this again, leaving that one alone. I think he's gone leave 6, leave 4, leave in this over so far.
It's been an odd start, hasn't it? They've kind of gone for the big boundaries. There's not really been many sneaky 1s or 2s. It's they kind of look like they're targeting the poor ball, making that go big, and then just watching it all sort of go on. I don't want to say it's lazy batting because they're not taking singles. That's why I'm saying it. But it's not lazy batting because they're watching the ball well. If that makes sense in a perverse way.
Rohit waits again and defends this one. He was looking to turn in the onside, but it was outside off stump. Holder does his own fielding, 10 from that over, 25 for none off 4.
Well, hello there, Muttley. You've got the sausages in the oven. Bring on the afternoon. He says, I'm footing for the underdog. You mean footing? You meant rooting, unlike Mary Messy Jesmus, wondering whether that was a special sort of dogging. India against fascism, interesting handle. Either India will win with 6 wickets or India will lose by 50 plus runs. You're keeping your options open there. Chris Waller's talking about the origin of the word maximum. Both Chris Waller and Leah. Chris Waller says it comes from original T20 cricket max, from the mind of Martin Crowe. But Leah's got a different explanation. She says, I'm pretty sure Mark Nicholas did use the word maximum to describe a 6 during the '05 Ashes.
Cottrell continues really good straight lines tailing in, and Rahul defends back down the pitch, no run. If I remember cricket max, I think a maximum was more than 6.
It was, you got 8.
You could
for
8
it,
if you hit it straight, is that right? Yeah. Remember they put that on TV. Were you responsible for that?
Certainly not. I was responsible for putting test cricket on TV, Rog. Not even ODIs. We went for the test matches at Channel 4.
I think Trans World Sport, maybe I just used to see it on Trans World Sport. We used to do a little segment from.
Yes.
I remember that. But good old Martin Crowe. Back of the length, Rahul plays a lovely square drive off the back foot, but straight to that man on the circle.
Trans World Sport. Here's a roundup of all the sports that you'd never want to watch from the past week.
8 o'clock on a Saturday and nailed on. Better
Just
than Channel 4 racing.
Yes, let's wait for it to finish so the morning line can come on.
Or Gazzetta, Football Italia.
Yes, James
Richardson with a little
James
espresso.
Richardson, really, wasn't it? Jumpers for goalposts.
Oh, yeah. Asking Gaza who he would win between Brescia and Parma, and Gaza be like, well, I've never heard of these two teams, but I'll say 2-0. As Rahul gets a single on the onside. Indeed, a 26 for none.
In that very distinctive Irish Geordie brogue that he used.
Is that no good, Jill?
Pretty good.
Oh, thanks.
No, I thought it's pretty apt. You just need someone to go, goal! For about 5 minutes. Or just watch any form of Brazilian football coverage, which does the same thing.
Yeah. Channel 4 Sport in the 90s. And then NFL on a Sunday evening as well.
But we got rid of that.
Is that your fault?
Was to make way for the cricket highlights.
Oh, fair enough. David Brooks, a past life, a fascinating one. Sheldon Cottrell. Beats Rohit with a really good, was a genuine leg cutter from a left armour. And squared Rohit up. He has a good look down the pitch and says, that
will please the Punjab 11 franchise owners, that ball. Kings 11 Punjab have just signed him up.
Yeah, and he did put some action on that. Cottrell showing us that he's not just looking for swing, he can extract a little bit of lateral movement, that's all you need.
Well, a lot of people would like to see him in the West Indies Test team. Hasn't played any first class for Jamaica in last couple of years, I don't think.
He does it all at a good pace as well. This one's right on the spot, and Rohit defends on off stump.
Because he's had 2 bites of the cherry, Sheldon Cottrell. He had that speller out of the side. He made his name earlier on, and then he's been a much improved bowler since he came back into West Indies team, and he's looking better today, isn't he? He's looking altogether more up for it. He had that off game on Wednesday, and West Indies supporters will be hoping he can maintain this. Someone to keep things quiet at one end.
Just doing a little bit of research here on the American football. Just wait for this ball.
On this was an edge, it was a slower one, and Rohit was able to keep it down. It bounced once right well in front of Hope, the keeper, but again Cottrell taking the pace off a little bit of movement.
Top over from Cottrell, 2 getting some good seam movement there. Jules, sorry.
No, it was just this may be a conversation for you. She took NFL off the air in the 90s, but just looking at some of the American football standings, I was trying to work out whether the 49ers were unbeaten, but they were 12-3. I was looking at who else is up there with them. You've got Baltimore Ravens 12-2. They playing.
Ravens been very exciting.
Lamar Jackson's been awesome this season to watch.
Seattle are strong, and the NFC's pretty loaded. Green Bay are going well.
Bloody Patriots as always.
And of course the evil empire in Massachusetts.
Cam Ruzaman Rafi says West Indies to win. He's listening to us on Quick Tracker. SK Yisin says, hi, Maulik Bachala India to win today. Virat is king. Kanu Singh Vaghela.
This is a thick edge. It flies through a vacant gully area off Holder. Rahul's the batsman, and there's been a lot of discussion with the West Indies about how these men behind square on the offside, there's a wide sort of third or fourth slip. There's there were 2 sort of backward points to Rohit, but Rahul had more sort of conventional field. but he did play that in the air. A little report from Karachi. Sri Lanka 212 for 7 at stumps at day 4. Ushada Fernando 102 not out, his first test ton. As Rohit goes back and is playing one out into the covers. It stayed a bit low.
I do like the Pandy telegrams that come in from time to time. Just bits of paper, lots of detail and stats.
It's interesting, that Pakistan performance, isn't it, with the emergence of Abid Ali, age 32.
Yeah.
Test debutant, wasn't he?
In the first test, yeah.
In the
and
first test, he's followed it up again. Yeah.
2 tons in 3 innings, yeah. And yeah, that remarkable score now with the top 4 all got hundreds, only the second time in test history. As Holder goes wide in the crease onto the pads of Rohit, he turns his behind square on the leg side and it beats the man out there.
Jason Holder can't afford to do that with the field that he's got. There's no one behind square on the boundary, and that's the second time he's strayed down there. And you can't bowl there to row it. He's going to have help himself every day of the week, including a Sunday.
Yeah, very neatly played by Rohit. He's off to a really good start. Can be ominous when Rohit's going over a run of ball at this early stage.
Who was it who tweeted us and said Rohit really gets into his stride after he reaches his century, and then he sort of goes into another gear altogether?
Waits for Holder now, back of a length, and good pace as well. He's just defending this. He'll get a run into the mid-wicket area. Yep, very dangerous customer. And there are all kinds of records available for Rohit, isn't it? Someone tweeted in earlier about someone wanted him to get a double 100, which is certainly possible. To set some sort of record. Him and Kohli have been racing each other this decade. I remember these stats were coming in at the beginning of the series, as India were the decade of dominance, the little theme they were going with. Very interesting. Rahul goes back and plays a lovely square drive. Just beats the man at point, Kari Pierre, and he gets one of these.
Well, Jason Holder looked a bit disappointed that wasn't saved in the covers. There was a dive from Kari Pierre, the West Indies, a guy at cover point, and he kind of dived over it. I mean, I know it was well timed, well hit, but kind of went in the direction of the cover point fielder. Let's have a look at the replay. No, it was out of his reach.
Yeah.
I think Jason Holders will be angry at himself rather than the fielder. Fair enough.
Yeah, can't be any margin for error here from Holder.
Kanu Singh Vaghela says, wow. Samar Gurmani says, great job. Could be referring to you, Rog. Saddam Khan says, hi. And Falak Sayer, hello everyone from Pakistan. Nice to have some listeners from Pakistan.
Yeah. Hello, Pakistan.
Hello.
Very, very exciting as in Karachi, as they will, you'd expect, complete a test match win on home soil tomorrow. Sri Lanka still 200 plus short. As Holder's bowling to Rahul, defended on the offside. It's 36 for none off 6.
That was a better ball to George. That was a better ball to finish from Jason Holder, but a couple of boundaries in that over.
I just think it's lovely to have cricket back in Pakistan again. It really is, and it's been relatively alright so far, apart from the weather. I think has not helped on a couple of occasions, but that's about it.
Yeah, the first one was a bit of a shame, as a bit of a washout in Rawalpindi, and this one a good 5-day wicket. I mean, extraordinary scores. We said 191 followed by 271 followed by 555 for 3.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I think the Sri Lankans have echoed that. I think Karuna Ratne has said Pakistan is safe, and hopefully many more countries will follow. Have you visited there, Jules? Have you been to Pakistan?
No, I haven't. It was that Zimbabwe and Bangladesh are the ones on my radar. Bangladesh, last time I couldn't because of work, and Zimbabwe, I think things need to get a little bit. Well, actually, it might change now, given.
Yeah, there's a change in the bowling. The 7th over is begun by a right arm seamer. He's bowling to Rohit, who's defending him backwards square on the offside. Bowler is this man. And he's got those 3 men behind square on the offside, but then he can't bowl that straight because Rohit will turn around the corner for an easy one. And yes, Chemo Paul, this young member of the attack, who can hit a long ball. Wasn't needed to do that today, but in his bowling series, remind me, David, what has he been up to in this series? He's done okay. He's done well at the death.
Hasn't pulled up any trees,
Yeah.
but he's been okay, and he really impressed in the Test series against England at the start of the year, because he's got really good control and can sort of move the ball around. And in the first ODI, he did really well with his slower balls, but because of the pitch was different in the second ODI, he got hit for a few more runs. But he's got some really good variations on that slower ball bouncer, which may work better on this pitch than it did on Wednesdays, because he certainly bowled well in the first ODI.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, he very good control of these really slow bouncers that can fox players, especially when they're in and they're maybe attuned to the pitch, and then Paul will look to mix it up. There's a very interesting feel, a very short backward point almost. Pollard himself is there, and he'll pick up the ball, which is defended by Rahul. They're doing a lot of discussing getting the makeup of this field just right on the offside. It's up to the bowlers to bowl to it.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I have observed just watching his captaincy here in the field with Pollard is he's much more talkative, chatty, getting his field on side, whereas Holder, I love to watch him as a batsman, I love to watch him as a bowler, but he's very much into himself, quite more of a quiet character, not so much of a leader of men as such to pull them together, but I think it was a case of needs must.
Paul the full and a bit too straight, turned into the onside but fielded at mid-on with a man who's lost a number off his jersey, so he mightn't be easily recognised.
Good luck. Well, Chris Gale, of course, tweeted about Jason Holder's captaincy. He made a public tweet saying that he needed to show more displeasure when someone made a mistake or did something wrong, because it was very placid. Jason Holder's very amiable, placid. Whereas you feel like there's more pressure on West Indies players to perform under Kieran Pollard, because he's just that much more focused, reactive.
Paul rolls in again. This one's on leg stump again, turned into the onside. They'll look to push for 2. Evan Lewis is the boundary rider out there, and it's an easy 2 to Rahul. It goes to 14, 39 for none.
No mid-wicket. I can hear Bear chuntering in the background.
Well, we've said it's a 6-3 field that Pollard's employing, with these guys that are interesting sort of depths, and there's a favouring behind square, but like I said, it's up to the bowlers to bowl to that plan. And if you're bowling full length on the stumps, which again that one is, and he's turning it to that mid-on, it goes through him, and that's poor. It's Ralston Chase, I think. Was it Ambrose is on as a sub? No, it's Ralston.
That was Village from Ralston Chase. That was a terrible piece of fielding, wasn't it? Through the legs.
Yeah.
Those jingles are a little quiet, aren't they? Ravi Nair, hello from India. Nice show, and he wants it both ways, Ravi, don't you? India to win, West Indies to win. He asks, is Rohit on the pull? I thought he was married. Leah, yes, please keep feeding short pies to the chubster. What could go wrong? So are we not talking about me, Leah? Dave Sirasira says, agreed.
Some mince pies will be fed to this chubster throughout the day. Don't worry about that.
The evil empire are the Yankees, though. That's a comment on US football.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, Mary Messi Jesmus says the jingles seem very quiet. I may live to regret saying this. I picked up on that too. On Crick Tracker, Kanu Singh Varghela says, hi sir. Kuldeep, hello. India to win today, says Kuldeep.
Cottrell is switched around to the city end. He's got Rohit playing it in the air but over the offside ring. Carey Pierre going back and frantically hauls it in. Evan Lewis helps him to throw it in. 2 runs to Rohit, but this was why Chemo was introduced so early, because Cottrell has swung round to come in from the city end, and a little bit chancy from Rohit. I think he was comfortable enough that he would sort of get under it and spoon it over those offside men.
The camera's lingering on Ralston Chase there, because that was a pretty poor miss from him in the last over, and West Indies can't afford any mistakes in the field. He let that fall through his fingers.
Cottrell, good tight lines, turned into the onside by Rohit for a single.
Hello again to Nickard Chambers, who says West Indies all the way. Asif Khan, Indian Harigar. I haven't got the skills of Brett Lee. language skills of Brett Lee to know what that means, but I'm sure it means good. Aryan Vijay Rajput says, love India. Raju Nathan says hi, and Krishan Kingda, I love India too. Naim Butt says good, and Robin Sen Gupta, this is great. Thank you very much to everyone listening to us on Cricket Tracker.
Mid wicket's gone in. Oh, Rahul attempted a ramp. He missed it. It wasn't that short. He got down on his haunches and tried to play a fiddly little one, and well, survives, but not very convincingly.
No, I actually thought it was caught behind there. I was really quite excited. But,
Yeah, it was a little bit of a flap. But that mid wicket had come in, and as we see the boundaries so far from this really fantastic opening pair that have come together in the absence of Shikhar Dhawan, and Rahul looking for a run on the offside, won't get it, and Kimo Paul, who's an excellent fielder, never mind whether he's in the middle of a bowling spell or not, was flying in from backward point to prevent any run.
yeah, he's absolutely on it there. Cottrell is prowling. He's looking a bit wound up, so I think we might get a royal bounce ball coming here.
Yeah, they all want to impress. I think that's with Pollard's captaincy. I think you can sense the players really want to perform for him. And
exactly.
This one's full and straight, driven back to him. Cottrell does well. Does his own fielding. I mean, remember in that first game there were a couple of sitters put down off Pollard's bowling, and the guilty looks among the West Indian fielders, and then Pollard would get the wicket himself, and they'd all gather around, and there's no recriminations. Just let's get together, boys. Let's all do our best. Tighten up. Roston Chase, who's been banished out. There he is at third man. Oh, and he fumbles that. Now come on, Roston. He gets a extended stare from the bowler. It didn't cost him any runs, but still sloppy. Little things like that are noticed by all the players. Single to third man anyway. End of the over.
47 without loss.
Thank you.
Hi to Rahul Chavan, says hi sirs, and Rahul Chavan, hi man, hi sir. Ishad Ahmad says hi, and Yuvraj Chehetri says hi. Vijay Gowda, win by India. Vipashu Gautam says hi. Vipashu Gautam, are you seeing my name? Yes, Vipashu Gautam, I am seeing your name. I missed your last tweet, sorry about that. So another hello to Vipashu Gautam. Vipashu Gautam. And one more. Vipashu Gautam.
For the avoidance of doubt.
No, you might be we just saw an ad for Garam Masala, a spice company there, and you might want to know what went on with our mulled wine. When I started the first batch, that Jules thought was maybe a little bit too punchy for her liking. I was very headstrong in the kitchen. I kind of took over because it was Jules who kindly offered to do the mulled wine. So she went and did her own batch.
Yours was more mulled punch, Rog.
Yeah.
The Ray and nephew was punchy.
Yeah. Oh,
Straight down the leg.
Yeah, it's poor down the leg and easily put away by Rahul. Very fine on the onside.
Yeah, those are the type of four balls. They're gimmies, aren't they? They're just down the leg side. They're just asking Rahul or Rohit just to put their bat in the way, glide it down. There's no one down at long leg. Can't afford to bowl there. As you said, Roger, there's a 6-3 field, and well, Kimo Paul knows he's made a mistake there.
The Indian 50 is up. 8.1 overs gone. Paul. Oh, this is better. It beats the batsman who'd made room. It missed leg stump, but it came inside Rahul through to the keeper.
Touch of the Chris Broads or Jonathan Agnew's about the batting there. Backing down towards square leg.
Yeah.
And
oh, don't tell me it's signalled a wide.
Can't possibly be.
Not when it comes inside. Surely every umpire knows that.
It can't be a wide. Was it signalled a wide?
Well, it still says 8.1 overs, but although the total hasn't gone up, and there's some discussions out there. Rahul, it's a dead ball. It says umpire knuckle.
Oh, he was backing away because he wasn't ready,
right. Well.
rather than backing away to make room for himself. So, was a touch of the Phil Tufnells about that batting style.
Well, he stays on his crease now. He gets hit on the pad, hopefully in a sore plate. Yeah, because he can't be faffing around like that, Rahul. He's got him in the inner thigh.
Interestingly enough, he made a movement as though he was going to go to square leg there, Roger.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, I'm not sure I did actually, but yeah, he was sort of stuck in the crease. Ultimately, his balance was all over the place, and it got him on an unprotected bit of his leg. He's walking it off. Umpire Sean George there looks a bit. He's very inexperienced umpire, beginning of his career. So, yeah, we'd need to see that one again to fully diagnose what went on. This one's on the pads again. Rahul gets an easy single. But yeah, this must have been a very late pull out. He's in his delivery stride. You can't pull out then. The ball was halfway down the track. That was Nitin Menon. Sorry, I got my umpires mixed up. But he's... did I? Okay, Knuckle is in and out like a jack in the box here. Keeping us right.
I take your point,
You can't
Roger,
pull
that
out there.
it was too late to pull out, surely.
The ball had left his hand.
Yeah, and Pollard said he'd already played the shot.
Yeah.
Already played the shot. Pollard was quick. You can't get anything past Karen Pollard, can
No.
you?
And we can't, and Rohit can't get that past mid-wicket.
I tell you, Hetmeyer is absolutely fielding the beans out there at mid-wicket. He's been quality. They pulled him in from the boundary. They've chucked out. Who was the guy who kept on missing everything?
Roston Chase.
Yeah, they've chucked him out on the boundary. Get rid of him. Hetmeyer's all over this. I'm loving it.
Yeah, some good body language in the field from the West Indies. And yeah, Pollard, the captain, intervening there, putting pressure on the batsman when you get that as well, doesn't it? Extra bit of pressure on them.
Yeah, this one's defended back to Paul. It's Nitin Menon on his 24th ODI, so not that. And Sean George has done more. He's on 52. But the chubby-cheeked Menon, he looks a bit chastened after because Pollard gave him. It wasn't an angry barrel, but Pollard certainly came in with a forthright opinion on
The ball
what
was
he
being
thought was a
released
wrong
by the time
ruling.
he pulled out. And wait, was it a pull out or was he trying to make room? I actually agree with what you said in the first instance, and Pollard was right to query that.
Curious incident. Well, this one, a quick signal on onside. It's your boy Hetmeyer having to go too far to his right. Well recognised by Rohit that he could get through for one, and he does. He goes to 29, 53 for none. After that odd over, 9 of them gone.
Yunus Khan, hello, says West Indies to win. Ravi Varma, hi, the score is lagging behind. Oh, it'll soon catch up. Don't worry, that's the score on screen on Facebook feed you're referring to. Apnabuna says Modi Kofta. Modi Kota. Apnabuna says hi. Pravin Mota is hi. And Gutala Muriatanja, 100% Indian win. You're very confident. And more from Pravin Mahit. India will win today. Ravi Varma says India is very good while chasing, so expect India to win. Well, that's reflected in the odds, which India are firm favourites at the moment.
And they're off to a good start. Just under 6 and over, and they need 6.4. Cottrell continues. Bit of width for Rahul, and he chops this really well. Fine, and too good for the third man running around to his right. It's Rohit with one of these. Yeah, that was a lovely bit of batting because this wasn't very wide. And Rohit just from the crease used the pace of the ball and really stayed. This lovely balance, staying right over, playing it right under his nose. And Roston Chase rather gave up the chase there. He could have put in a dive just at least to impress the skipper. As Rohit turns one off his hips for a single.
I hope Roston's not sulking in the outfield, Johnny Bairstow style.
No, he can't afford it. There's no place for sulking.
Motley says too late to pull out. Heard that excuse before.
It's not that kind of show, Motley. Come on.
And you have been chastised.
I don't even know what he means. Oh, there's a TV man stuck into some sort of pastry. He looked like enjoying that, but keeping his eyes on the cricket as Rahul tries to beat the backward point, but he can't. Kimo Paul fielding well. Cottrell continuing, trying to just bowl tight lines with a little bit of, some of them little cutters we're sending, some of them that will keep seam up and swing in. And yeah, seeing slow-mo of these variations. This third over, a particularly good one. He's into his 5th now. Back of a length, chopped and well fielded by Carey Pierre. They'll get through for 1 because he could only sort of block it and it ran away, but he still saved 3. Those two men that are very close to each other in the offside, just around the point area.
So at the same point, West Indies were 40 without loss,
Hmm.
and India on 59. So
Yeah, and the West Indies only got slower from here. The next sort of slice of 10 overs, they regressed. So
need that wicket.
they do. They're just going to say that they need that break. This one's slower one and well read. Just in time. Rohat watched it very carefully and just dabbed down on it as it was going to smash into his back pad. Clever bowling, but good batting.
Yeah, he just got that bat down in time. So you just kind of think if that ball came on, it'd just be missing off stump, wouldn't it?
Mm.
Oof.
Oh, I think he would have been
You think we've been gone?
bang in front. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Just with that angle, bring it back in. But safely negotiated by Rohit, the bottom of his bat, and there's some more jiggery pokery going on with the behind the bowler's arm.
So
I
that's
heart
fine.
cricket.
The ghost
Sorry.
of, not the ghost of Christmas past. That's the opposite. Sorry, I don't know where I got that one from, Grubby.
And a good straight ball is played up to mid-off for no run to end the 10th over. 59 for none. There'll be changes afoot, and I'm going to stay. Jules, we'll see you later. And Grubby arrives with some cool refreshments.
Yep, you owe us all right. You think this alternative cricket commentary stuff comes cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills. So please, go to patreon.com/GorillaCricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there is literally nothing like Gorilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight. Dip into your virtual pocket and throw some cash our way. See, Rihanna knows. Patreon.com/GorillaCricket.
Yeah, well, I think one or two technical issues with the levels of the jingles, which I believe are a little bit quiet. So if that's in any way affecting your enjoyment, I can only send massive apologies from the technical department. Anyway, we're all here. It's Grubby here in the central missionary position. Roger's shipped over to the jingle chair, and Mash has come to join us in the tweet seat. 59 without loss after 10 overs, and they've played very well, these openers, and continuing in that same vein, KL Rahul plays a classical cover drive, which reaches the boundary about 2 seconds ago. And the West Indies opening bowlers have not bowled well, I think it's fair to say. A lot of dross both sides of the wicket, and you don't need to feed that sort of stuff to quality players like KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma. Thank you, Dave, who's bringing me more refreshments. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah. So I thought at the innings break that the West Indies should be favourites for this game, but the way they've started here, and there's another couple of runs there to KL Rahul as the ball comes in from the outfield. 65 without loss now, only in the 11th over, and some fairly ordinary work by Alzari Joseph in the outfield there, tripping over his own ankles as he stoops down to do the fielding.
Maybe a bit dewy, perhaps.
Could
It
be.
seemed a bit slippy there.
Could be. Chemo Paul it is, who is bowling this over, and he bowls a decent shorter ball to Lokesh, who sways out of the way eventually. And they'll be relieved, even at this stage of the innings, for any dot ball that comes their way.
Yeah, there hasn't been lacking in dot balls. It's just been they've been sprinkled in a lot of, like you say, both sides of the wicket, in different lengths, and no sort of rhythm or holding patterns.
That's right, he needs someone to hold an end up. No one's doing it at the moment. Paul bowls one just outside the off stump. KL Rahul leans on it and runs it down to third man, and there's a single.
And yeah, you are going against possibly the most dangerous opening partnership.
Well, I've said this often, but Rohit Sharma for me is just the best white ball cricketer in the world. And what did you call it? You described sleepy violence or sleepy.
Something like that,
Sorry,
yeah.
I mean, which is absolutely right. He looks like a gentle giant of a man. But to watch him bat, I think is just a thing of beauty. He gets one on the pads this time, turns towards square leg, and they come through for another single.
Rohit Sharma's a flat track bully.
Here we go. So we had a question earlier from one of our listeners about the biggest flat track bully in cricket history. I put Matthew Hayden up there. You might also put Graham Smith up there.
Ooh. Somebody
And
tweeted me.
You're offering Rohit Sharma.
Yeah, I'm offering Rohit Sharma.
Yeah.
Anybody who makes loads of runs in India, flat trap bully. Come from me, India Twitter. I'm here.
Graham Hick, says David Brooke. Yes. Yeah, this one is again 2 leg sidey from Chemo Paul, and it is turned down to long leg by KL Rahul. And they come back for a couple runs, just flowing really comfortably here for India. 69 without loss after 11 overs. And what are West Indies going to do to put the brakes on, take a wicket?
I'm surprised Pollard hasn't called a team conference and started shouting at people at this stage. The bowling's been absolutely shite.
It has. Well, he threatened to sort of get his dander up, didn't he, with that rather controversial moment a couple of overs ago when KL Rahul pulled out of facing Chemo Paul. But when Paul was in his delivery stride, not only that, he offered a shot, and it was called a dead ball by the man-baby umpire, Mr. Menon, wasn't it? Who frankly looks out of his depth at the moment. And really, I mean, that was a shocking decision, wasn't it? That was just a classic case of someone has called for something on the field and I've acceded to their wishes without sort of thinking whether it was the right thing to do or not. It was the wrong thing to do.
I call it cheating
Yeah.
for the second time today.
Well, you can't have it both ways. You can't be pulling out and play a shot at the same time and then expect it to be called dead ball. Shocking, I think. There we go.
It can't be put. He'd bowled the ball. He wasn't just in his delivery stride. Anyway, it's gone, but it was curious.
It was wrong. Now we are having a change of bowling here. It is going to be spin. Not a bad idea. We're out of the first power play, of course, now. And we have a very shiny-headed, bearded man coming on to bowl.
Rust on cheers.
Done him.
Oh, beats him on the outside edge first up. As Rohit aims a drive through the covers. Well, he totally did him like a kipper, didn't he? First of all, first up. Sloppy bit of work behind the sticks as well.
Nice bit of flight.
Yeah, and it kept low as well, didn't it? I don't know if it hit a foot mark or something.
It's
Kept really low.
Yeah, an attribute of Chase Bowling. He is so tall, but he still spins the ball up when it leaves his arm.
And this one is turned into the leg side by Rohit. It comes through for an easy single. Weird bit of fielding by Pollard, who sort of traps the ball with the outside of his left foot. That way, madness and injury lies, surely.
Yeah.
You can easily tread on the ball accidentally, go over on your ankle. And if you're a big man like Pollard, that's going to smart.
And Rohit's back leg was up for a millisecond. So
Yeah.
if any good keeper would claim that and whip off the bails immediately.
Am I going to bemoan the lack of real quality specialist wicket keepers in international cricket right now? I could go there.
You wouldn't be wrong.
Ben Folkes nowhere near the England setup. Weird. This is a flatter ball and it's flat batted. Backward of point for a moment there. The man backward of point was interested, but it was just out of his grasp and it's raced away to the boundary for one of these. Artificially played and just a yard further backward of point and he'd have been in trouble, but there we are. Small margins, got 4 runs instead. Both openers are now rather pleasingly symmetrically both on 36. The score is 74 without loss, and we're in the 12th over. This is turned off his hit by KL Rahul to break that symmetry. He comes through for a single, moves to 37 and the score to 75 without loss.
Mog says, I would like to put forth David Warner as a flat track CUNT.
Yeah, see you next Tuesday, Davey. Yeah, I mean, he's everyone's idea of... Because we had another little thread earlier on, people that you just don't like by the very look of them, and Warner's definitely in that category. Rohit restores the symmetry as he bumps one up to long off and comes through for a single. Both batsmen now on 37 and the score on 76 without loss.
I wonder, can anyone tell us the origin of that? I remember it was certainly bandied around Graham Hick a lot, the flat track bully, but was that term in use before his time?
I don't know. I would like to know the origin of that as well, as KL Rahul goes back in his crease to play this one up to wide long on, and they come through for another single, 77 without loss after 12. Runs coming very easily. Also, you used the word origin straight after I used the word symmetry. And Origin of Symmetry is Muse's second album.
Yeah,
It's
one
quite
that
good.
I own, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I like Muse. I've seen them a number of times live. They're very good. They're one of the few bands, I'd say, who genuinely can play those big stadia.
And pleasingly, we're touching the NFL. I'm a big fan of the NFL, but the term flat track bully, there's a great NFL writer, a guy called Chris Wesseling, that has picked and he uses it. It's a term that's crossed into his jargon. Yeah, and he describes certain. I think Peyton Manning, the quarterback, he described as a flat track bully, and I heard him on a podcast saying, "Oh, I've picked up this really good term from cricket." And he's explaining it to American listeners, so it's nice.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
I like seeing cricket's influence leak out into unexpected areas. And American football would definitely qualify as an unexpected area for cricket to influence in terms of language. Now, we've got another change of bowling here. It's one of the new boys for West Indies. Another slow bowler, left arm round the wicket. Uncomplicated action. You might call it slightly filthy. His first ball is carved out to the point boundary for 1.
This guy.
A full ball which is driven by Rowett up to long on. He's going to come through for a single. Score moves on to 79 without loss in this, the 13th over. What is the origin of that jingle, by the way? Is it like Les Mis or something?
It sounds like it, but
it's Les Mis-ish, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure it actually is Les Mis. Someone will correct me on that, I'm sure. They often do.
yeah, I don't know.
Round the wicket comes Pierre, nicely flighted and a good length that. Just has KL Rahul reaching forward and playing it defensively back to him. No run.
We could get look at both batsmen score on balls here. That we could get some beautiful symmetry.
Oh, we could, yeah. Round the wicket again. It's full ball on off stump and it's driven to wide long off for just another single to KL Rahul. The score has moved on to 80 without loss. He's got 40 of them. Rowett has 38 of them. And it's plain sailing right now for these quality Indian openers. KL Rahul played one of the best innings I've ever seen live, attempting to chase a massive score at the Oval last year. Didn't quite get his team over the line, but they were chasing about 400 and odd. This is turned around the corner by Rowett. They come through for a single. Was that off the pad or bat? Not sure.
Come on, man, baby. Give us a clue.
The man baby does not signal anything, and therefore it must be a run to Rowett, and it is indeed. Around the wicket comes Pierre again. It's a straight ball, which is driven to that long off position once more. For another single, 82 without loss after 13. What are West Indies going to do to stem the flow and take a wicket? What's going to happen, Mash?
They're going to let Pierre and Chase bowl for as long as they can and hope that the batsmen are just milking singles for a while, just to kind of just slow things down for a bit.
Must be a wicket-taking plan, surely.
Alzari Joseph will then come on at some point. He hasn't bowled yet, has he?
No.
Couldn't have done. So once they've slowed down the run rate a bit with the spinners, if they can, then they'll bring Alzari in as a strike bowler.
I like it. Okay, so Mash is predicting a slow strangle.
That's all they can do.
Followed by a swift kill.
And if Alzari then doesn't get a wicket, Pollard will bring himself on as a golden arm.
So why are the spinners not looking to take wickets then?
Look at the score. I think they're just thinking right now with India so far ahead. I think Pierre could take a wicket.
Get a couple of close fielders around the bat, maybe?
Nah,
You've got to try something, though.
You're hoping for one of these just get themselves out.
Roston Chase comes back into the... Well, he continues his spell. A full ball on middle and leg. KL Rahul turns to long leg. To long on and takes a single. I always worry when players shave their head clean like Roston Chase. I remember when Chris Lewis did it for England and Julie got sunstroke when we were in Australia. So
I think it's because he's bald, though.
Is he genuine male pattern baldness?
No, I mean, like he's going bald.
Right.
So I think he's done it to
defended back to him. There's no run. You think he's just sort of said, "Fuck you, nature. I'm going to. I'm taking that decision into my own hands."
Exactly.
I still worry though. I hope he's got a bit of sunblock on top there. even as it gets dark in Cuttack. Rowett drives this one up to long on, comes through for his 40th run. The score is now 84 without loss. Just in the 14th over. Easy peasy, isn't it, at the moment?
You'd like to see maybe bowling in a cap, or you think? I think the West Indies women are great ones for bowling and headgear. A lot of women.
All this ball half beats him, and inside edges it, does KL Rahul. A false stroke there. Fired in perhaps a bit quicker by Chase. So well bowled, no run.
Mog says, you know what else is overrated? Muse. Pretentious queen.
Yeah,
ripping off shit.
yeah, I know. They have their knockers. This is defended off the back foot by KL Rahul to extra cover, and there's no run.
Don't think Muse were flat trap bullies.
No, it's weird. When they first came out in the late 90s, people thought, oh, they're a bit like Radiohead. And then there's a bit of Queen about them because they're quite theatrical and that sort of stuff. This is turned to square leg by KL. No run. Good finish to the over there from Roston Chase. Remains 84 without loss.
Yeah, the guy has a great voice. It's a big operatic voice. Matt
Bellamy.
Matt Bellamy.
Yeah, well, they're only a three-piece. And I know you shouldn't be surprised, but the racket they make, in a good way, for three of them. They also went to school in Teignmouth in South Devon, at the same school where I wasn't at this school, but I used to play my cricket there. Winterbourne Cricket Club, for those of you who still remember them or are interested. So yeah, I've always quite liked them. They're an easy band to knock, I think, as well. But they are the governors at those big stadium gigs, I think.
Leah says, Bro hit on track for a runnable 50. Well ahead of his usual pace.
Yeah, Bro hit. I have a bit of a Bro thing for him. So languid and hand-eye coordination to die for. This is swept. Another ball which is too full, frankly. And swept quite easily by the languid Rohit for 4 more runs. Maynard.
Even those sweep shots, he does it with the minimal effort. He doesn't even really get down to the sweep until he really has to.
Yeah. He plays this one from the crease. Does Rohit up towards mid-off. It's partially stopped by the man running in from extra cover. He has a little chuckle to himself about something. Maybe that was onto him a bit quicker than he expected. He just looks like a man who's thoroughly at peace with himself, doesn't he, in his game? And why wouldn't you be when you're in this sort of form? 44 not out he is, and he's forward and flicking this one quite wristily up towards that wide mid-on position. Now runs in from the fence and does the fielding. It's 89 without loss. We're halfway through the 15th over, and West Indies, it's now up to West Indies to do something about this game because it's drifting away from them quicker than a paper boat in a torrent river or something. Kari must be a name that's unique to him, I should imagine, in the history of international cricketers. This is driven off the front foot by Rahul through cover point. We're just going to get one there. Rohit not interested in coming back for a second. Not a man who likes to run more than one, if at all possible. Hetmeyer is gesticulating expansively in the outfield there about something or nothing. Rohit has 45, KL Rahul has 43. The score is 90 without loss. It's easy at the moment for India. Round the wicket comes the left armour Pierre, and that's a straight honour. Well bowled that, and half beats Rohit as he attempts to play it into the offside and just gets a little inside edge jabbing down the ball into the offside. I think you call that one natural variation. I think he tried to spin it and it just sort of maybe went straight on, having hit the shiny bit of the ball. Anyway, either way, it's a good result in that one particular ball, a dot. And this one is once again turned wristily to a wider long on position. Rohit comes through for single, nicks the strike, 91 without loss after 15.
Mog says, if you weren't so frequently wrong, Grubby, people wouldn't need to correct you, love heart. What did you get wrong?
Love you. Many things.
Okay, fair.
Many things. Not least, I got wrong an Iron Maiden lyric earlier, didn't I? Which amused me because I've thought that for years. And I've since then I looked up the lyrics, and sure enough, there's no mention of what I thought it was. You know, when you think, maybe I just dreamt that. Maybe I hit. Because the other one, the other misheard lyric that I quite like is from Bohemian Rhapsody. Beelzebub has a devil for a sideboard.
What was the name
Which-
for it again? Moon.
No, green something.
Gren, what?
Ravi Nair.
We'll never know.
Well, we will, because Ravi's going to tweet in and tell us something else we got wrong or forgot. Now, we do have the change of bowling that Mash was talking about a little while ago. It's going to be this fella coming into the attack.
Alzari Joseph.
Another man with a unique first name, I'd have thought. Here he is, bowling his first ball, right arm over the wicket, seam up, and Rowett turns it into the leg side. It was too leg sidey, and that is, he's not the first West Indian bowler to do that today. Just one run a cruise though. Rowett nearing yet another half century in this form of the game, and even 47 from 47 balls. I think he feels he might have got more than one run from that delivery, judging by his gestures. But really rich vein of form, not only this series, but he's been scoring big centuries in Test cricket as well, recently promoted to open the innings. He's just a wonderful cricketer, I think.
Jen says, it's interesting, the only people I know who are willing to overlook NFL treating their players like farm equipment are the British.
This is slightly down the leg side and a shorter delivery, which KL Rahul threatens to pull round the corner. That would have been close to a wide. In fact, has it been called a wide? I think it might have been called a wide, that. And I think that's fair enough. It's sort of over the left shoulder of KL Rahul, and therefore slightly down the leg side. But weirdly, no consistency, because in the West Indies innings, we saw a few of those early doors, didn't we, from the Indian bowlers that were not given.
Cheating.
Yes.
Metaphorically, I'm stirring the pot here as I look over at Mash and for signs of injustice in this game.
You know, we would have won if it wasn't for the cheating.
Alzari Joseph in again over the wicket, and this is turned quite effortlessly off his legs by Rahul. Come through for a single. I'm not a big one for talking about body language, but I don't like the West Indies body language at the moment. It looks like they've given up, and there's still a hell of a long way to go to chase this down. If you're India, you still need 220 runs to win this game. Things can change quickly.
Yeah, I have faith in my captain. He's thinking of something. Like I say, I'm surprised he hasn't called the team meeting yet at the next drink break.
Does he do that?
I expect him to do so. He won't be happy with this.
No. How could he be? His bowlers have not done him proud at all today. Alzari Joseph, the latest off that rank, and again it's two leg side. It's easy for Rowett to whip that round the corner. He's just going to get one though, down to long leg. Moves on to 48. India to 95 without loss. Sheldon Cottrell is doing the field. A lot of scowls and frowns around the West Indies fielders at the moment, but not much positivity.
Yeah, and even Cottrell then, it was sort of lazily. Of course, it was just a single, but you can still set a tone. You can gather it and fire it in with a bit of, and that spreads around the field. But yeah, people seem to be feeling sorry for themselves. And sort of, they're all in their own little bubbles rather than.
Got to get together as a team. I think that's not a bad call there, Mash. Just to get them together, even between overs, get in a little huddle. Better ball this time from Joseph, which Rahul guides the backward point. There is no run.
Leah says Gower was languid, Rohit is lazy.
Well, whatever it was that you said earlier, Rog, you call it sleepy venom or sleepy violence or something like that, which I think was a really good description of him. Gower might be my all-time favourite batsman.
Top 5 most languid cricketers or batsmen, because I'm saying Carl Hooper's number 1.
Oh, I love it. He was brilliant. I think he's sort of often overlooked. I don't know why, Carl. I mean, he was just quite a quiet character, wasn't he? But this is top-edged through and over the keeper, slightly leg side, down to long leg boundary, whistles away, 4 runs. Oh, the symmetry. Both openers on 48 now. That was a false shot though. That was on him a bit quicker than he was expecting, KL Rahul, and he was committed to the shot, but all he managed to do was just get a tiniest of inside edges. No chance for the keeper. Whistled away. He's moved to 48, matching Rowett's 48. Rowett's faced 48 deliveries, and KL Rahul has faced 47. So hopefully a dot ball next for perfect symmetry. And it's driven. Sadly, he's going to get a single. It's fielded by the man on the point boundary. The 100's up also. 100 without loss in 16 overs. Absolute piece of cake at the moment.
Yeah, walk in the park. This Ravi has said it's a Munda Green.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, thanks,
you.
Rafter. You have to keep reminding us of these things.
And over on Crick Tracker, Raja says good. Then he says good Indian.
Raja.
Big up Raja.
Big up yourself.
Sounds like West Indians talking to me.
What?
Raja. when Matt said Raja, so I thought,
We're not going to go down the beer can route, are we?
no, maybe not.
No. So yeah, the first 100 runs, the first two 50s, if you like, have come off 49 and 48 balls respectively. Almost without these openers metaphorically breaking sweat. I'm sure they have broken sweat in actuality because it'd be pretty warm over there. So full delivery from Kari Pierre on leg stump. Just turned around the corner by KL Rahul, who goes through to his 50 from 49 deliveries.
Hold on, sir.
When you're 50, sometimes you drink till you pass out on the floor. Now your liver's destroyed and you got hemorrhoids and you can barely get it up anymore.
I don't like that jingle just because what's coming down the
What's
track.
coming?
This is an ugly looking shot by Rowett standards. Half a step down the track and swatting a ball from outside off stump through cover point and coming through for a single. He's not happy with it. He's shaking his head and twiddling his bat and shadow batting. Didn't look much better the second time round, by the way, but there we are. He's got another run to his name. He's moved on to 49. The score to 102 without loss. This is leg stumpy. He's rather got away with one there because KL Rahul was down on one knee attempting to hoik that, sweep it over the infield. Got nothing on it, thudded into his pad, fielded it. 45-degree position, and there is no run. He's in again, is Kari. This one goes straight on with the arm, I think. Again, looking to turn that into the leg side. Just gets the inside edge, fielded by that same man, and there's no run.
UD says that Rohit is famous for sleeping in many interviews.
Sleeping in interviews? Wouldn't surprise me. It's a straight ball, skidding on a bit. KL Rahul's back in his crease, playing it towards cover, and there's no run.
Yeah, there are many instances of sleepy cricketers. Phil the Cat Tufnell, who wanted to sleep through an entire England batting innings, I think.
No, it's just a nap, sometimes in the 90s. This is a nicely flighted delivery and bunted back to him by Rahul. I'm not sure if that was half a chance or it just reached him on the bounce. We're having drinks, weirdly, after 17 overs.
Man baby wants his milk.
Bitty. Anyway, 102 without loss after 17. Yes, Mash.
Nothing on Twitter, but
Oh, really? We sent them to sleep.
over on Crick Tracker. They're just discussing whether it's live or not. So the comms is live, guys and girls. And the scoreboard will lag slightly behind, but it is 101 for none.
102, I believe.
I'm sorry, 102 for none. So whilst India essentially easily chase this down as it stands right now, let us talk about other things.
Yes, such as?
So I was at a Christmas meal last night.
Oh, yeah.
It was a mate's birthday of mine.
What were you eating?
Some American stuff. And
What, hamburgers?
Yeah. And I caused a huge row at the table.
Did you?
For suggesting that the Beatles were overrated.
Now, I've had this conversation with a few people, and I've had someone say to me, I don't like the Beatles. And I say, well, you probably don't like music then. Now, I can understand what you're saying, that they're overrated just because they are the most rated band ever. Well, I mean, do you mean you actually don't like them, or just that they're overrated?
No, but so I accepted that their music is significant and
Right.
Has been a trailblazing influence on many, many other bands. But I just think that, and then in fairness, I was corrected and I eventually retracted my statement. But,
It's a very formal meal you're at.
But
What is this, the European Court of Justice?
I essentially stated that they came about at the right time to to get the fame that they
Sure.
they got. And if they came about now, people wouldn't think they were that
No,
good.
of course not. No, I mean
But
they
then
were
I was
also
told that doesn't matter.
hugely influenced themselves by a number of artists, not least Roy Orbison. If you listen to the vocal on "Please Please Me," for example, it's a direct copy of Roy Orbison's singing style, basically. So, yeah, I mean, nothing comes out of nowhere, does it?
Indeed. So get at us if you agree or disagree, and link it to cricket somehow. But Frankie,
Well, can I give you my link to cricket is that I often sort of half jokingly say that I think that Sachin Tendulkar is overrated for a sort of a similar reason. Not that I think he was terrible, but because he's deified. I mean, almost literally by many people. And I would just challenge people to think, okay, how many match-defining innings, how many match-winning innings did he ever play? I know he scored 15,000 runs, all the rest of it. He's not been as influential as one would expect for someone who has that much hype behind him. So it's a similar thing to the Beatles.
India Twitter, I hope you heard Grubby say that, because I'm not involved. But over on Crit Tracker, Frankie Light says, "Hola desde Paraguay. Hola, mi amigo.
Hello to Paraguay.
Sorry, who's that?
¿Cómo estás?"
Who's that? Who's from
Frankie Light.
Frankie Light? Bienvenido.
Sí.
My mum was born in Paraguay.
¿Hablas español?
Incredibly.
Un poco.
Sí.
Yes. Did I hear Jules say she does speak Spanish, or am I making it up?
I heard she said that. Yeah.
She said something about Spanish.
Yeah.
She's Mog. In unsurprising news, I also hate the Beatles. Come at me, bro.
I just think you're wrong, but there we are. Now, after that drinks break, Rohit faces the first ball thereafter from Alzari Joseph, and he just defends it back up the track, and there is no run.
Actually, none of our jingles are Beatles.
Oh, there are. There are tons.
Are there?
Tons. We've had Helter Skelter about a dozen times today so far.
Sorry.
My apologies. Perko loves a bit of Beatles.
I was going to say Mog's jingles.
No, not Mog. No, Prog Mog. He'll hate that. Good. Rohit is on 49, teetering on the cusp of yet another 50. He just defends this one patiently back up the track though. So 2 dot balls after the drinks break. 102 without loss. And we're in the 18th over. It's very baby-faced, isn't he, KL Rahul?
Yeah.
Cheeky little dimples.
2 innocent eyes. But he's betrayed by the stick-ons on his left arm. So he's obviously a bit of a bad boy.
Do you think that follows necessarily? Just because you have tattoos, you're a bad boy?
I think it's a replacement for personality, isn't it?
Yeah.
Messi Jez.
This is a full ball from Alzari Joseph, and it's turned to wide mid-on by Rohit. He does eventually get to his 50 from 51 deliveries. Just easy for him, isn't it? Easy. When you're 50.
Well, the West Indies showing signs of a long tour. I mean, they've been in the country of India for a long time now. They had that Afghanistan series.
Yeah.
Is it fair to use that as an excuse, or just mention it that looking forward to Christmas?
This is an attempted violent pull from KL Rahul. Just under edges it though. He's fielded it short mid-wicket and there's no run.
No, I'm not convinced, Rog. I just think Phil Simmons kind of said as much in the pre-match interview, where it was a friend of mine tweeted me this morning and said it was defeatist, but Phil said we could play at our best tomorrow and still lose. And I think that's just, and I said that's just realistic. No, that's realistic. That's realistic.
Well, that is true. Yeah, if everyone on the respective team sheets puts in their best performance, then you'd make India the winners. Yeah, I get that, but you don't need to be saying that sort of shit, surely. This is defended from the crease by KL Rahul, up on his toes into the offside. There's no run. Remains 103 without loss. 1 ball left in the 18th over.
Messi says, I know Mesh loves being contrarian, correct. But frankly, if you didn't live in the 60s, you're not in a good position to gauge the significance of the Beatles.
Yeah, well, also, I mean, implied therein is that you have to have lived in the 60s to understand their significance, and I just don't buy that. You know, you get people in their 20s saying, "Oh, that's before my time." Yeah, so were the Beatles, so was Shakespeare, so were many significant things in history. It doesn't mean you can't know about things. And the same would go, Messrs. I expect better from you.
I did retract my statement as well, Messrs. I just need to remind you.
Joseph spears one in at leg stump, and Rahul just turns it to that man at the short mid-wicket position, and there's no run.
Leah says the Beatles are shit, as are the Stones. Fight me.
I'm with you on the Stones. They're overrated.
And also the Beatles had quite the career early doors in Hamburg, didn't they? So it's when they used to dress in leather and all that sort of stuff, and then it was only a year or two later when they came back, and made it really, really big, that they smartened up, started wearing suits and stuff.
Mog, yeah, I think I've already nailed my colours to the mast of thinking prog. Prepended to any genre is abject shite.
Prog Mog. Love it. Now it's darkness has descended in Cuttack, and Kari Pierre is attempting to shed some light on this West Indies effort as he comes round the wicket with his left arm spin. And Rowett turns it up towards mid-on, and there's no run.
Which sportsman was prefaced by that what you just said there?
By what?
Darkness.
This is driven. Another ball. It's beautifully driven, actually, through the covers. Well placed. Well played by Rowett. I see what Pierre was trying to do there. And he's brave to flight it up to a man like Rowett with his hand-eye coordination, but he got crashed through the covers before.
One of the most thrilling things for me in the history of sport was when the dart player and Dracula enthusiast Ted Hankey was always introduced as dart, but it was by Martin Fitzmaurice, the MC.
Round the wicket comes Pierre. Oh, and it almost beats Rowett. Again, it was the straight on and just took the inside edge, and there's no run.
Who would announce it? Darkness has descended. The midnight hour approacheth. And Ted Hankey would come on, throwing plastic bats to the crowd.
More of that in a moment, because I want to come back on that. This is played by Rowett from the crease up to long on, and he comes through for a single. Yes, if you've not seen this, you must have a look on YouTube for Ted Hankey's walk-on.
Nothing would get my juices flowing more than that. That was so exciting. And Ted would come in this bad boy with his shirt unbuttoned to the navel, Dracula tattoo on his left pec just peeking out, and then he would come and throw.
He's an absolute
beautiful
nutter.
darts, yeah.
Pierre around the wicket again, nicely flighted once more. He has Rahul reaching forward for this one and steering it to short extra cover, and there's no run. And also his walk-on music was this 120 BPM rave track. Round the wicket comes Pierre again, nicely flighted again, and Rahul using his feet this time, steering it to the point boundary and coming through for a single. And some of the lyrics were, "This is my territory, be on your way."
That's right.
And someone will tell me what that track's called. I did look it up a while ago. Yeah. Tremendous.
Over on Crick Track, Vipan says, "Can you turn your camera? I don't want to see your face."
You could always turn yours off, my friend. I mean, that's your choice, isn't it? No one's forcing you to watch.
Don't worry. At least two of us will be out of here soon. And he says, tattoos replacement for a personality, Tendulkar overrated, Beatles overrated, prog mog, gulp.
Thankfully, we've got on to Ted Hankey. We're on safe ground when everyone rates and loves Ted Hankey. We can't wait for his second coming.
There was a brilliant match that Ted Hankey played a few years ago, where he was going through some massive inner turmoil, and he started the match like an absolute drain and lost the first couple. He might have been playing Simon Whitlock. Can't remember.
Right.
The Australian who's the dead ringer for Brett Lee, by the way.
Yeah, the Wizard, of course.
Yeah. And he just started poking his head as if to say, "Come on, get your head right." And in the end, he dragged himself back in and won the match, and was so emotional at the end. But I think he just sort of stunned his opponent into submission. This is speared into the leg stump of KL Rahul, Balzari Joseph, and he plays up to wide mid on, and there is a single.
Who's the Aussie guy who is on here?
Simon O'Keefe.
He looks like Simon Whitlock as well.
Well, he's definitely got a similar sort of beard, yes.
Yeah.
But shave that beard off, and I think Whitlock is a dead ringer.
For Brett Lee. I'll have to go look at pictures of Whitlock again.
You should.
Messi says, you still haven't forgiven me for watching the BBL, have you, Grubby? I guess what galls me is that the overrated line in relation to past achievements is often thrown around without any proper appreciation of the contemporary situation.
Mate, I'm agreeing with you by and large. I think the Beatles are worthy of the respect and praise that they receive. Rohit steers one down to third man, takes a single, and Nelson is the score. 111 without loss. If only Nelson had lost nothing, he'd have been a happier chap, but possibly less famous.
Yeah, no, I make Messi. He's right. I was obviously just winding up with the Beatles thing, but yeah, the overrated line.
It doesn't mean you don't rate them.
Yeah,
it just means that the rating that they are given is out of proportion.
Yes.
I'm not speaking on your behalf. I'm speaking about me for Tendulkar.
No,
this is turned into the leg side. I wouldn't presume to it by Rahul, and there is no run. Nelson remains.
Mog says, I have no issues with Ted. And then he says, who said the tattoo line? That was Rog.
How many tats have you got, Mog? It's one thing I don't know about you. I feel I know a lot about you, other than what you look like.
It was me.
I still want to get a tattoo on my shoulder of my favourite horse, Moscow Flyer. In the same way that Tommy Cooper has that joke, my wife drove me to drink, and I never thanked her. Is the horse that got me into horse racing. Under edge this time, attempting to pull it through mid-wicket, KL Rahul, and it cannons into some part of his body and trickles out of the offside, and there's no run. Jules is coming to the room. Hi, Jules. How you doing? What I'm hoping is a mug of mulled wine.
No, we burnt it.
No. Oh yeah, the burning. We had a burning incident earlier.
No. Was that my fault? No, I think.
Yes, let's call it your fault.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Jules.
Yeah,
someone left the pan on the hob, and I tried to remove it, and I think the blister's just coming up.
Oh no.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You'll be hearing from my solicitor. KL Rahul is going to face up to Alzari Joseph, who's bowling quietly a decent spell here for West Indies. Shorter ball, which is just guided round the corner by Lokesh.
Knuckle drinking something red.
Yeah, I'm saying that's why.
It might be Vino Tinto.
Vino Tinto.
I'll be clearing off after a ball, but just I'll be back in a bit. But do keep darts in your thoughts. Tis the season to toss tungsten.
Yeah.
And, it's my favourite time of year.
Yeah,
sadly,
I love
the BDO tournament has sort of faded from view, but they've been blown out of the water by
I still really want to go to the BDO. I've never been. Joseph bowls a ball 2-leg sidey, whipped around the corner by Rohit. Again, he'll probably feel he should have hit that before, but he rather top edged it. He's going to come through for a single, and we're going to have a little change up here in the com box.
We're changing.
The best things in life are free. Just like Gorilla Commentary, we need money. That's what I want. We need money. I don't like the BBC. I prefer Gorilla Commentary. I want money. That's what I want.
West Indies starting to claw back a little bit of control through the tall Antiguan fast bowler Alzari Joseph and the slow left arm Makari Pierre, and it's him continuing bowling the 21st over. Rohit tries to take him over the leg side, and it falls short of the man Evan Lewis on the mid-wicket boundary. Hard to see whether Evan Lewis could have gone for that catch. Perhaps he probably should have done. Perhaps he should have done, given the context of the game. It wasn't well timed from Rohit Sharma. It was held back a little bit by Kari Pierre. In the end result, it's just a single. Lewis has had a bit of an injury where he had to come a long way round actually from square, didn't he? He's coming probably 10 yards to his left.
He did pull out of it though.
Could he have dived
maybe,
forward?
maybe 50-50.
Need wickets, don't they?
Kari Pierre now bowling to KL Rahul, who comes down the track and nicely bowled by Kari Pierre. Saw Rahul coming and dragged it down shorter. Rahul adjusts and nudges single into the leg side. Kemo pulls fields at mid-wicket. West Indies, as I say, starting to get a little bit of control back, but India 115 for no loss after 20.2 overs. Won't be worried at all yet. I'm Knuckle Mpande, taking you through the next 10 overs. The voice you just heard was Paul Grubby Howard.
Hello.
Reading your tweets and Facebook and YouTube messages, and Jules Farman is to my right playing your jingles.
Voila.
Kari Pierre fires this down the leg side. Rohit turns it away through the vacant square leg region. They take a single.
Linux Lear says, I now can't help but think of the BBL as the Beatles of the franchise leagues, i.e. overrated shit. Mog says, I have 6 tattoos, but they are all of significant nerdery. Star Wars, Doctor Who, Lord of the Rings, historical... Why does none of that surprise me?
I mean, you say it's
Not generally visible to the public.
They are all billion-dollar franchises. It's not as though none of these things are niche exactly, unless you're as Rahul stays leg side of this from as he has it fired into his pads by Kari Pierre and just nudges a single out into the offside. This is a nice little slow move through the gears by India, getting just 4 singles of the first 4 balls of this over. A boundary now and make this very decent over indeed. Kari Pierre goes wider on the crease, a little bit short, and Rohit, I think, trying to find that boundary to cover, but can't beat the man in the ring at cover. There is no run. A big Jason Holder in there. Karen Pollard was off the field for a small period of time, but he's about to come back on. Kari Pierre in, slug swept by KL Rahul and picked up very well. Evan Lewis is out there on the deep square leg boundary, but that's gone fine of him. 4 runs, 9 off the over. It's kind of what India needed just to stop this little strangle. Rohit on to 63. India 121 for none.
Say hello to a few people on Crick Tracker. Pratik Gupta's with us. Zishan Khan. Good, says Zishan. Hidayat Khan Jani. Indies will win today. Okay. And Hidayat Khan Jani goes on to say target. Hello to everyone watching.
Target is 316. Yeah, the West Indies are very much the second team of most people in India. Extremely popular cricketers. Burgeon, or rather made even more so by the success of various West Indian cricketers in the IPL.
I think that's the thing actually about the IPL, is it has brought world cricket far more into people's eyes, especially in India. There is a team beyond India, there is a team beyond Sachin, there's a team beyond Dhoni. And I think sometimes it gets fixated into that, doesn't it?
It's a tremendous global tournament, which has been a force for good for the game.
T20 in general has done more to democratise cricket than any other form, not least, ironically, because of the attitude of India towards how the ICC is run. We have a change of bowling at the City end. Alzari Joseph out of the attack, and it's another tall fella, this man a Bajan. Bowls and fires this into middle stump, and KL Rahul just nudges this into the offside. Kemo Paul is back on the edge of the circle at mid-off, so there's always going to be a single there. KL Rahul moves to 56.
Where did India go from here? So they kind of went out, they gave it all the beans, got a lot of runs, took the fast bowlers on. They've been sort of nudging and nerdle the singles with the spinners. Holder's come back on, absolutely giving it the beans again, got a 4. Is this going to be all over by about the 35th over?
I do love the phrase giving it beans, by the way.
I can't name credit.
Holder in outside off stump. There's the edge. There's the wicket. Jason Holder back into the attack. A little bit of swing. Rohit trying to drive on the up. Takes the edge. Shea Hope takes it easily. Rohit gone for 63 off as many deliveries. India 122 for 1. That's what Jason Holder does at his best. He pitches it up, he gets the ball to swing. It wasn't quite there for the drive. Rohit not able to free his arms, and the thin edge comfortably taken by Shea Hope.
Just a conventional dismissal, really. But Jules, you were asking where do India go from here. It wasn't really up to India to do anything different, I don't think. You're cantering to victory, and it's up to West Indies to try something different. And it turns out that what they tried, bringing Jason Holder back on, has succeeded. So someone else got to come in and start again.
Yeah.
Who is that someone?
Well,
is it anyone decent?
Well, yeah. Short of runs in this series, 5 and a duck. Even so, with despite those 2 failures, he's averaging nearly 80 against the West Indies.
Holy smoke.
Yeah, again, a good platform set by KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma. That's 500 stands out of the 11 times they've opened the innings together in 2019.
5 out of 11.
Yeah,
Jesus.
2 over 150, 1 over 200.
Jesus. Our very own Tony Bishop says, somebody need jingle support. I can provide expert tuition at very reasonable rates. Very funny, Tone. To which Messi Jez says, very loose definition of expert.
His Coliness facing up to Jason Holder, captain facing former captain. That's a garbage delivery, frankly, out off stump. A long hop, well wide of off stump. But they put the deep point back, so Kohli will have to content himself with a single.
And Messers also asks me specifically, so to go in the other direction, who are the most unjustly underrated cricketers of this century? Ooh, that's a good one, isn't it?
I would have said until recently Nathan Lyon, but I think he's starting to get the plaudits he deserves. Mohammed Nabi?
Micaiah and Teeny?
Yeah, that's a good one. Sean Pollock.
He's not underrated by me.
I know, that's the thing, like everyone's got the...
Yeah. I think Micaiah... the reason I say that is I play this quiz thing. It's called Sporkle. If you want to ruin,
it's very good.
If you want to ruin your life, and I play these cricket quizzes, and whenever you have to name, the top this, that, and the next thing, I always forget about Micaiah. I don't know why.
Back of a length. That's a nice shot by KL Rahul. He does play well off the back foot through the backward point region, but can't beat backward point on this occasion. Jason Holder just bowled that a little bit slower, the delivery that got Rohit Sharma, so he's threw the shot a little bit early. In a weird way, despite the fact that he's taken so many wickets, Stuart Broad, I think, is underrated for his just sheer skill level. I mean, he's an amazingly skillful and resilient and long-lived bowler.
What about Ishant Sharma?
I mean, Ishant's come good in the last couple of years for sure. Wider on the crease, Jason Holder, back of a length, and turned around the corner to salute and Sheldon Cottrell at long leg. He sends in a throw on the bounce. I was going to say he's got a better throwing arm than that. They take the single. KL Rahul onto 57.
Mog says, I will note that my currently galaxy-conquering franchise interests predate the time when nerds were profitable and less likely to be beaten up for knowing the difference between a mind flayer and a displacer beast. Does that mean anything to anyone?
No, but fair point.
I've also got a picture of what purports to be a tattoo on Muttley, which I'll tell you about in a moment.
Comes Big Jace, right arm over the wicket, very wide on the crease, back of a length, and a little bit of extra bounce and nibble off the seam, defeats Kohli, inside edge into the body, drops down into the offside. A successful return to the crease for Jason Holder, 3 runs off the over and the wicket. India 124 for 1 after 22.
Now tell me if any of this surprises you. Muttley says, I have a tattoo depicting Satan being cast into the lake of fire. It also incorporates the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. There's a few other hidden gems too. And he's tweeted it. I'll retweet that for anyone who cares to look at it. My eyes!
Lovely stuff, Muttley. And a hearty woof to you.
Yeah, you forgot about that, didn't you? Mutters.
Going back to Stuart Broad, I think with Broad, he has these spells where he takes a handful of wickets
Yeah.
in one innings, then he does bugger all for a few matches, and all of a sudden he does the same thing again. Everyone goes, oh yes, he must be big.
But he's been superb for the most of the last calendar year. Kari Pierre tosses this up, but Rahul stays leg side of it, and that's a poor bit of fielding for the man at cover. It was a lovely shot by KL Rahul, but it didn't really deserve to get 4 on account of the fact it was hit straight to the fielder, but 4 runs it is.
Liz Yates wants to know what Muttley's got from Doctor Who, i.e. what his tattoo is. Hopefully Mog will let you know that. Liz, hope you're well. Probably at the darts, aren't you, this afternoon? And Genro says, I think people use overrated interchangeably with I'm tired of hearing of it.
That's probably true. Tossed up by Kari Pierre. Down the track comes KL Rahul. He's been quick to use his feet. Salute and Sheldon now down at long off. When Kari Pierre is bowling from this, the Mahanadi River End single taken.
We're still having a bit of jingle issue, apparently, according to Messi Jez.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. Noted, but we can't do anything about it right now, I'm afraid. We might have to maybe sing some live ones, shall we?
Do not want me singing.
Come on.
And the bells are ringing out. Kari Pierre in a little bit wider of the crease, and that's cut hard by Virat Kohli. Backward a square, just the single as Shimron Hetmeyer is lurking on the deep point boundary. Kohli moves to 2 off 3.
There's been the almost yearly debate which Shane McGowan's had to respond to about the use of the word faggot in that song, by the way.
Yeah, it's not a good look, is it?
It's not. No, of course it's not, but it's a character in the song. Anyway.
I've heard a few different alternative versions. Fall down the leg side, and Kari Pierre's a little bit lucky there. I know there was a short fine leg and a man back at fine leg, but even so, that was a poor delivery really from Kari Pierre, and KL Rahul is a bit unlucky that his sweep went straight to short fine leg. There is no run.
Could use the word rabbit instead, I suppose.
I've heard We Love Diane Abbott as a as a potential substitute lyric. Held back a little bit by Kari Pierre on off stump, better line, and Kaela Rahul nudges this into the offside. They take the single.
Well, I told you the story about when a film crew came to Portman Road, Ipswich Town, and at half-time they wanted the crowd to sing "The Referee's a Rabbit" as part of a film that a local filmmaker was doing. You can guess what happened.
Deep point, deep square leg, long off and long on, back on the boundary, and that's full delivery on leg stump, nudged into the leg side by Virat Kohli. They might take two, no, just the single. They would certainly take two later in the innings, but having already hit 7 off the over, they didn't really need to risk it. 8 runs off that over with minimal risk, really, from India. After 23 overs, 132 for 1 are India.
Characterised the whole of their innings, really. Minimal risk, minimal seeming effort. Mog, talking about his Doctor Who tattoo, says, do you recall the first time a Dalek appeared in the Reborn series? It's the ink of the identifier symbol below its eye stalk.
Oh, very good. Yeah, that's one.
I never know what to believe.
Christopher Eccleston's Doctor finds one in a sort of abandoned something or other.
UD says, how about Sangakkara being underrated? Again, not by me. But,
again, he's so good. Everyone knows how good Kumar Sangakkara is. Holder in and the hazy Cuttack night that's full outside off stump and driven beautifully by Virat Kohli. Stings the hand of the man at cover. There is no run.
Rahul Dravid, because he's always had to put up with
That's
people
true.
going mental over Sachin Tendulkar, who
And
I personally think struggles when the ball moves a bit, and you've got Rahul Dravid who can play it in all conditions. So for me, he's a
great
must-have.
shout.
I mean, he was
Great
kind of always in the shadow. Like on Test debut, he makes a 90 odd. Ganguly makes 100. He bats all day at Kolkata. VVS Lakshman makes an admittedly brilliant 281.
200, yeah.
But wouldn't have been possible without Dravid at the other end. So yeah, even though everyone realises how good he is.
I think it's a really good shout.
Holder in second ball of the over. Kohli walks across outside off stump. Is slightly squared up by this. It squirts off the outside part of the bat to the man coming in off the deep point boundary, who's Evan Lewis. They come through for a single.
Incoming Reindeer, good name, says, I think the main connection between Mind Flayers and Displacer Beasts is that they're both eldritch abominations with too many tentacles. Oh, we're not hurtling towards octopus porn again, are we?
I think I think we're just veering H.P. Lovecraft, which sounds like a sort of a sci-fi author shipping forecast. Lovecraft becoming Asimov later. Speak for yourself. Wide on the crease, short outside off stump, and hammered by KL Rahul, and it bobbles and bounces over this slightly corrugated Cuttack outfield, and they come through for the single.
Not on the Lord's Day.
Of Liz Yates's 2 tattoos, one is of a cat. No news on the other one. Incoming Reindeer has given us a little comic strip thing, which I'll retweet rather than try and read it out to you. It's about tattoos again.
We turned into like the unofficial broadcaster for tattoo banter and a bit of cricket.
Yeah.
Dave, the home of tattoo banter. Fourth ball of the over is outside off stump, and that's a glorious shot by Virat Kohli. To quote Mark Nicholas, the very best of Virat Kohli. Driven beautifully through the offside. Short extra cover had absolutely no chance. 4 runs.
2 + 2 is our map.
Like, if you've ever played the game of cricket, you know how hard that shot is. It's a length ball.
It's on the way up.
Outside off stump. One stride towards it, he meets it with the full face of the bat. How do you even do that?
And with the bottom hand just making sure that the bat face stays straight so it beats the man. That's almost the same ball that got Rohit Sharma out.
And Virat plays that shot better than anyone in the world probably ever has.
Kohli in outside off stump. Kohli in outside off stump. Holder in outside off stump. I never want to see Virat Kohli bowl again. Is much fuller and wider, and Kohli just opens the face and gets the single away through point.
Muttley, expanding on his tattoo news, says it's actually part of a greater theme/sleeve. The general idea is heaven and hell exist here on earth for others through our actions and inactions, war, famine, pestilence, death, etc., and to treat each other accordingly, positively. You're welcome to Tattoo News.
It's a metaphor, my lad. 7 runs off the over again. India, again, just seamlessly going through the gears. As Holder's in last ball of the over is a back of a length delivery with 2 men back on the hook. Rahul is not tempted, just drops it into the onside. 7 runs off the over. India 139 for 1.
That's quite a good philosophy to live life by. I mean, at the moment, everybody, whether it's the 100 or politics, is at each other.
Yeah.
I think just look out for each other. Be kind. It's just gone a bit mental in this country at the moment. Just chill out.
Yes. Good point. Good point. Rather than people shouting across the fence at people who might have a slightly different opinion.
Oh, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to make a stand somewhere. But
of course, yeah.
you're entitled to an opinion. I think I put something, literally a comment about the Trent Bridge Rockets or whatever they're called, just having a few Nottinghamshire players. I had 101 tweets just come on going, wow, you know nothing about cricket, right? Just like, guys, just calm down. It was just a statement of fact. There's quite a crossover. That was it.
There's a lot wrong with the 100, but I can't get that angry about it yet.
It just, guys, get things into perspective. There's a lot going on in the world right now. Just chill the hell out.
I mean, certainly there are some things very much worth getting angry about, and that it's absolutely necessary to get angry about, but maybe that isn't one of them.
Talking of which, I've got Mog after this.
I think we have a change of. I think we may have a change of bowling, do we? Yes, we do. Kari Pierre out of the attack, and this man is in. And Tegan, clever medium pacer, replacing Guyanese, clever medium pacer, replacing Trinidadian left arm spinner. And his first ball was run down through third man for a single by Virat Kohli. His second ball is punched straight to point by KL Rahul for no run.
Got a lot of love coming through on Crick Tracker. Thank you to all of you who are giving us the old thumbs up or love hearts or all that stuff. Thank you. Also, Mog says, he says that is fucking purest rolled gold comedy. Also, the monsters mentioned are Dungeons and Dragons things.
Very good.
Might be time for sleep. I'm not sure I'm making sense.
Paul outside off stump, and nicely played by KL Rahul, but again straight to the fielder. It's a nice bit of fielding by Kari Pierre at backward point. I like the way Rahul just really opened the face there to try and get it past that man, but couldn't do so on that occasion. There is no run.
Linux Lear is bemoaning the fact that some people haven't read Lovecraft even before the age of 30. Mind flayers are from Dungeons and Dragons, you filthy plebs, she says.
My D&D experience is one sort of after work game. We're not sufficiently advanced. Short ball outside off stump, and a Caribbean-esque pull shot by KL Rahul with that front leg coming up. We saw a little bit of that from Hetmeyer and others in the West Indian innings, and that's pulled to a deep square leg for a single.
Very Desi Haynes, that. Mog says to Muttley, sort of a hint of Catharism? Do you mean? I don't know, Catharism in that philosophy. Watch out for papal legates. I think I'd refer back to your previous tweet, Mog, and say it is time for sleep. Liz Yates has posted a picture of her cat tattoo. Goodness me, I'm going to retweet that.
Hashtag Catu. Back of a length outside off stump, and Kohli leaves it alone. I think he thought about perhaps uppercutting it, but besides discretion, better part of valour and all that, there is no run.
Jules, don't encourage him.
I was gone with the topical Christmas cracker jokes in the green room, which I think will have to be cracked out later.
Catu, they're very good, very good.
Not everything works as a portmanteau, but Virat Kohli 10 off 10, KL Rahul 65 off 76, a little starved of strike and thus fluency recently. That strikes Virat Kohli somewhere rather painful, and Anushka Sharma will be watching on with some concern as it bounces off into the point region. There is no run. Good comeback over from Chemo Paul, just the 2 runs off it. India, after 25 overs, 141 for one, need 175 off the remaining 25 with 9 wickets in hand. All is in hand for India.
Matthew Fry has tweeted an image that for some reason I can't see. So, shall I retweet that just blindly? Why not?
Danger.
High voltage.
Oh,
hey, come on.
Hey.
Great try. Who's that by? Electric Six.
Yeah. And that ball hit Virat Kohli about where those light bulbs come on during the video for Danger High Voltage. It's a link to an XKCD comic, so it shouldn't be.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, there we are.
The webcomic.
Incoming Reindeer. Oh, yeah. It's in response to Incoming Reindeer's comic strip that was tweeted in previously.
That's a great handle.
After 25 overs, the score is 141 with 1 wicket down.
India, barring a collapse, really, and it will take a pretty significant collapse, India look to be strolling here. Jason Holder and co have got to do something, and it is the big Bajan in. Short ball doesn't really get up, and KL Rahul has to sort of whip it into the leg side rather than a serene pull. Hetmeyer fields out there on the deep square leg boundary. They come through for a single.
Ashvin Kumar is with us on Crick Tracker, as is John Alexander, and Afshar Jan. Veer Singh, who says very nice pick. Don't know what you're referring to, but thanks. And Gyan Chand Manglia Chand. Hello to all of you. Thank you for watching.
Howdy.
Who else have we got? Achal S. Kaundinya, who says, listening to you guys after the final of the World Cup. I must say, I missed all the jingles and banter.
Holder in outside off stump, and Coley with those superb hands of his just pushes this, despite not really timing it, very hard to mid off. There is no run. Yeah, that World Cup final, Grubby and I were in here for the last super over, and it all got a bit too much for all of us, particularly you.
Yeah, I think you're allowed to go a bit mental when your team wins the World Cup for the first time in your life.
I had no dog in that particular fight, but if you couldn't get excited by cricket at that point, you officially don't like cricket. It was absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Holder in third ball of the over, short ball, and Coley's played that very nicely. Just chops down on this, and in front of point it goes for a single. Evan Lewis out there on the deep point boundary fields.
Mog approves of Liz's tattoo, which is good to know. Linux Leah says, I get angry at the 100 to forget about my anger about all the shit that's going to kill us. Muttley says, the difference between a mind flayer and a displacer beast is that there is a mind flayer in the trailer for Baldur's Gate 3, and a displacer beast isn't. Stop getting fantasy bollocks wrong.
That's us.
He doesn't add.
It looks like a very nice pint there and some food.
That's from Nestle Boy.
Lovely.
That's bloody lovely.
Beer, sun and free tapas.
Pinchos. Fourth ball of the over from Jason Holder, who's been bowling quite wide of the crease in this little spell, and it seems to be working that natural angle of his into the right hand. A little bit of extra bounce from all 6'7" of his tall Bajan frame, back of a length, and to backward point it goes. There is no run. We're on dew watch out there. There is some dew out there in Cuttack. You can see the dew with a D.
No, can we just clarify that Dew Watch was a man wiping his hand on the outfield and then
showing it to the camera. Yeah, they do that a lot.
Dew Watch.
Holder in outside off stump, and this is nudged up to mid on by KL Rahul. They take the single. Yes, the less successful follow up to Spring Watch.
I liked, yeah, indeed. Chris Packham in the outfield. I like your pronunciation of pinchos, which sounded to my untrained ear a little bit Mexican. Speedy Gonzalez. I may be small, but I'm very fast. So yes, our own Nestle Boy. I'll retweet this picture because it is nice. It's a lovely, you know, those images of a pint of beer or a glass of beer, which just has the condensation on the outside. Always
Frosting.
Very appetising.
Short and pulled hard by Virat Kohli in front of square. Won't be any more than a single because Shimron Hetmeyer is out there, and Jason Holder just being milked rather in that over. I think 4 or 5 runs came off it. 1, 2, 3, 4 runs off it, and after 26 overs, that India are 145 for 1.
You're being milked like a massively uddered cow, Jace. I wouldn't ever say to his face.
No, I wouldn't want to take him on. He seems quite placid, but if he goes, he goes.
He's got inner steel, Jason Holder, and he's shown that over the last few years. You know, slow to anger, but not someone you want to get on the wrong side of.
Do you know what? Talking about underrated cricketers, Jason Holder potentially, just because he's had to put up, Nakwi about to break your phone, he's just put up with a lot of crap in terms of, you know, the West Indies cricket board, the comings and goings there. He's still stuck around, captain the side.
And he was captain of the side, and his test record, is, particularly with bat and ball over the last couple of years, is incredible. Kemo Paul in outside off stump, and I'm not quite sure Virat Kohli saw that as well as he was hoping for. It was a short ball that he thought about pulling and then ducked out of the way of, and there is no run.
Maybe he should pull out the way like KL Rahul did.
That was extraordinary, wasn't it? I mean, I don't really understand, well, A, how a batter can be allowed to back away that late, and then B, why, having played the shot at it, the umpire Nitin Menon allowed that to be a dead ball. But the umpiring's been a bit off in this game from Mrs. Menon and George. Rod Tucker was umpiring during the second ODI, and he's an elite panel umpire, and the difference is notable.
Which I'm sure is reassuring for all the elite panel members.
Kohli on 12 off 15, drives this straight to the tall figure of Jason Holder at cover, and there is no run. The men back, the 4 men out in the circle, on the boundary, are all square or behind square, so it's deep point, third man, long leg, and deep square leg.
Muttley said something about Jew/Jew watch, which I don't think I'll read out. It's fine, it's all good.
Yes, none of that. Kemo Paul in third ball of the over, short outside off stump, and Kohli just stands up tall, and then a a passable Kane Williamson impression runs this down to third man for a single. Not the elegance and economy of movement of Kane Williamson. But,
Yeah, I think Kane plays that shot best of all. I mean, they
off
all
the front foot.
they all
especially.
play it well, don't they? Him, Kohli,
Root.
obviously, but Root is definitely not in the Fab Four anymore.
It's the big three plus a bunch below that.
Babar Azam.
Tom Latham. Karen Aratner's been in superb form. Kimo Paul in fourth ball of the over, outside off stump, and an attempted whip into the leg side by KL Rahul, which comes off the inside edge off the thigh pad, and at the offside they take the single. Cheteshwar Pujara in Test cricket as well, I think, would be in that.
He's
group.
quality. Yeah, he actually reminds me of VVS Lakshman.
A little bit, yeah. He's got that. Again, they're not a particularly big stride. He
It's like
sort of leans.
It's economy of movement.
He's not. He can be quite stylish actually through the leg side, and he uses his feet more to the spinner. They both use their feet to the spinners actually, but obviously Pujara has ridiculous powers of concentration.
So just looking here,
Kimo.
slow down the run right here.
Kimo Paul in outside off stump, and that's cut really hard by Virat Kohli, almost in response to that slight tightening of pressure by the West Indies. Short ball outside off stump, and Kohli hammers it in front of square for 4. Yeah, right. Had been a little bit of time since the last boundary, but that 4 has somewhat relieved things. 6 runs off the over thus far. Still 1 ball of it to go. Beautifully played by Virat Kohli. Paul in outside off stump, and Kohli again just hands outside off stump and runs this down to third man for a single. He's charging those first runs now. I think the intensity of this innings might just step up a gear now. Virat Kohli on 18 off 19. KL Rahul 68 off 80. Needs to either pick things up or start playing some shots and trying to get on with it and let someone else have a go. India 152 for 1, need 164 with 9 wickets remaining off the last 23 overs.
I've got a technical observation / question, which is this. Do you think that foot movement for batsmen is overvalued?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Because you see so many brilliant batsmen, like we just saw Virat there, basically just stand his ground from his wide stance and just run it down to third man, perfectly still at the point of contact, all that stuff.
Well, that's it.
You don't always need to be going right forward or right back.
It's the head that's important, not the feet. And Steve Smith demonstrates
But
this better than anyone
the
else.
feet are important as well to get you in that position.
Yeah.
Or not,
Well,
if you don't need to.
Yeah, I mean, some bowlers, some players, Kevin Peterson to some extent as well, it's just a transference of weight through the stroke. We do have a change at the City end. Jason Holder out of the attack, being safer later, and this tall, languid, wiry Antiguan comes into the attack. In comes Joseph, short and hooked by Virat Kohli down to Shimron Hetmeyer at long leg. They come through for the single. Quick delivery from Alzari Joseph, and Kohli read it pretty early.
A slight difference of opinion on Crick Tracker. Well, let's say hi to Kiran Lyon first. Hello, Kiran. Supabat Das says India. And Itisham says India loss.
Mm-hmm.
And Gajendra Bhardwaj says India will get victory in this match. Who knows?
Can I suggest perhaps that the people from India are suggesting an India win and people not from India are suggesting a West Indies win?
Well, it's a big assumption.
Alzari Joseph in, second ball of the over, short outside off stump, and Rahul a little bit surprised by that delivery as it skidded onto him and sort of plays a stand-up flap into the leg side, and there is no run. Rahul, I think just by the fact that Kohli's sort of monopolised the strike in the last couple of overs, has started to lose his timing a little bit.
Messi Jez says, thank you so much, Grubby, for fucking up my life with your mention of Sporkle. Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant.
This is the quiz site.
It's a
It
wonderful...
looks like his website that was made in about 1993. So it's not anything flash. But if you like quizzes, it's a great site.
It's an outstanding time waster. As Joseph in third ball of the over, outside off stump, and Rahul drives handily into the offside out to Evan Lewis on the deep point boundary. They come through for a single. 154 for 1. Halfway through the 28th over.
Just going back to the feet movement conversation where your head is, I think if you've got good hand-eye coordination, you don't sort of also need, it goes back to your head again, I get that, but you don't need to have that amazing foot technique. You see that on probably some of the associate nations. Sorry to call them like that, but you see it with Afghanistan. A lot of them are just naturally good hand-eye coordination batters.
Joseph in very close to the stumps he bowls from, and this is a run down to third man by Virat Kohli, playing at the top of his bounce. He moves to 20.
Well,
kind of a previous vintage. Marcus Trescothick didn't move his feet
No,
that
he
much, but he would transfer his weight slightly onto the back foot, then onto the front foot, but his head was usually in line with the ball. And it's the head that's the important thing. Virat Kohli and Steve Smith are able to work the ball almost off stump into the leg side because their head is almost never out of line with the ball.
Yeah, if the ball is full, I get you come forward. If the ball is short, you go back. If the ball is kind of in between, it's perfectly valid just to hold your ground and play your shot from there.
Oh,
Wow,
what a shot that is from KL Rahul. Hush my mouth talking about his lack of fluency. That's a right-handed Yuvraj-esque flick over the square leg boundary for 6. Utterly dismissive from KL Rahul. Nothing wrong with the ball at all. Length ball on off stump, and he's just stood there like Alzari Joseph is bowling him a throwdown, and just with a whip of the wrist through the line of the ball, sent it sailing over the fence at deep square leg. That's an absolutely extraordinary shot.
I think I've broken Twitter, by the way. Oh well.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen?
The man's now gone back on the deep square leg boundary. I'm not sure he would have been able to do much about that, even if he had been there. That's outside off stump and cut hard by KL Rahul. It's straight to the man at point. There is no run after 28 overs. India 161 for 1. Talk while I help Gravity unbreak Twitter.
Yeah, it's come back onto something, but I think I need to get back onto mentions.
We're having a little bit of technical issues there.
Just while we rewrite the MCC coaching manual.
Yeah, we're just going to rip that one up. No foot movement. What else can we do?
No foot movement is fine in certain circumstances.
Yeah, renegade bowling actions. We'll chuck that in.
Yeah.
Or whether you squat down or sort of do a strange sort of half sort of sit-up movement in terms of wicket keeping. Let's completely eradicate that.
Oh, red wine's gone on the carpet. It was only a matter of time.
It was. Wouldn't mind, but it's nice. But
Yeah.
it's a sort of white carpet.
Well, on the wicket keeping thing, maybe I am more of a traditionalist. I do think.
I do think you have to stay low in general.
Yeah.
It's just that much. I mean,
Ollie Pope does the kind of like he's sitting on an imaginary shooting stick or something.
Rishabh Pant doesn't always stay down as much as he should.
Well, and we've seen the results of that today, haven't we?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, none of those chances were easy necessarily, and actually one of them was one that went. Was one that just flew through high. We do have a change of bowling at the Mahanadi River End.
Let's hope it's better than his fielding today.
Roston cheers.
Roston's been chasing leather.
Unsuccessfully. He's a bit unlucky to be taken off, actually. His second over went for just 2, and now he's been taken off. He's in bowling his off spin from the Mahanadi River End. This one doesn't turn as much as Kohli is expecting, and his attempted flick into the leg side meets with a leading edge, which rolls back to the bowler. There is no run.
Mojo.
As Roston chases in again, short outside off stump, and the big-capped Virat Kohli powers this off the back foot with a pretty much a vertical bat. Shimron Hetmeyer has a long chase from deep point, and they stroll through for 2. In fact, KL Rahul and Virat Kohli are both favouring the cap.
Yeah, Mojo, or Dundee 24, has sent us a picture of the lovely setting sun in Cuttack, which I shall retweet for everyone. Thank you for that.
We also do image service as well on Gorilla Cricket.
Apparently.
So a lot of retweeting.
We're all sorts. Chase in, back of a length outside off stump, and forced off the back foot by Virat Kohli straight to the man at point, and there is no run. Oh, cover rather, and there is no run.
Maybe they thought they'd keep Roston back.
This one keeps a little bit low outside off stump, and Kohli is livid with himself that he didn't, I don't know, smash it for 6 or something, and just defends it to short third man. There is no run.
What, take the pace off for straight?
A little bit, yeah. As chases in, outside off stump, and Kohli with a trademark whip of the wrists down to long on. He takes the single. Jason Holder on the long on boundary. Just the 3 runs off the first 5 balls of the over. Roston Chase doing a decent job. He's at least bowling one side of the wicket, which a few of the West Indian bowlers haven't managed to do. Notably Jason Holder, actually, in his first spell, although his second spell has been a lot better.
the run rate has definitely been sort of tightened. Actually, it's really dropped. It went off like a train, then kind of peaked around, and it's kind of gone down and plateaued again.
I mean, as it currently stands, there's not a huge amount of pressure on India, but that could all change with a few wickets. That's nicely played by KL Rahul, off a nice delivery by Roston Chase, all very gentle. Tossed up outside off stump, single down to long on, 4 runs off the over. West Indies hanging in there. India 165 for 1.
Pollard looks like he's quietly fuming now, doesn't he?
Yes, he's looked like that pretty much all innings.
Yeah.
Not helped by some misfields and bowlers.
And some baffling umpiring decisions.
Bowlers saying I want an offside set field and then bowling leg stump half volleys doesn't help.
Yeah, they are sort of strolling it really at the moment, India. But yeah, you're right, Jules. It has just threatened to plateau the run rate, isn't it, at the moment? So it's, I mean, they were going at 6 and over quite comfortably. It's now, what, 5.5 and over, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, India are completely on top here, but like you say, if you get a couple of quick wickets here, where they're taking the pace
It's still a long way off, isn't it, that total?
Yeah, I mean, these two put on a partnership and let's see where it goes from here.
Yeah, the current run rate is 5.6. So it was about.
They were going at just over 6.3 or so. Yeah, the required run rate is just over 7 and over, but obviously after the last 21 overs with 9 wickets in hand, that's not really a problem at this stage. Alzari Joseph is continuing from the city end, back of a length outside off stump, and KL Rahul blocks this into the offside. There is no run.
On Crick Tracker, Ijaz Ahmed says tall, languid bowler. Wonder who could be.
I mean, there's quite a few of them actually out there in this West Indies team. Certainly, Roston Chase is very languid, and Alzari Joseph has a lovely rhythmical run to the crease.
Ijaz also says Sehwag didn't move his feet.
No, that's true.
Good point. Lakika Kandil Y says India should win.
Yes, they should.
Should.
In comes Alzari Joseph, right arm over the wicket, back of a length outside off stump. KL Rahul plays this very nicely, just takes the pace off and runs it to Kari Pierre at backward point, always going to be a single.
And hello to Anil Pupala as well.
Hello. We will have a change at the end of the over. I think I'm moving across to the Jingles chair, and then we'll have a couple of people in here. Is that Grubby? I think you've got to take your leave, is that right?
I'm going to take my leave fairly. Yeah, well, certainly out the com box. I'll probably have one more drink and then wend my merry way.
Yeah, Roger McCann will be taking over on the ball by ball, and then how are we going to do this? Oh no, David Brooke will come into the tweets.
Lovely, lovely. Any big plans this afternoon, Grubby?
Do you know Wisley down the A3? Sort of a glorified garden centre that does lovely Christmas
Here comes
lights.
Joseph outside off stump, pulled hard by Virat Kohli. I don't think he timed that particularly well. Off the bottom part of the bat, it goes out to Shimmer and Hetmeyer on the deep square leg boundary. No, he didn't time it very well because Virat Kohli swears at and punches his bat.
So you're off to a garden centre?
I don't like to say it like that because it really paints me in a light I don't want to be painted in. But anyway, yes. With some lovely Christmas lights.
Oh, it's nice. Garden centres are quite chilled up places to go.
No, the lights are lovely, to be fair. So we'll more mince pies and mulled wine, no doubt.
Oh, sounds good. Sounds good. I think we're all off for a Christmas drink somewhere local.
Yeah, I'm sorry I can't join you for that, but I'm sure you'll manage without me.
In comes big Alzari Joseph, short outside off stump, and it loops up over KL Rahul's head. Is that going to be signalled wide?
But she baited in the first innings.
Well, indeed. Or they all should have been in that one, should be as well. Haven't seen yet. No wide given. Consistently wrong, I think, the umpires.
I don't know, I'd like to see that from side on, because that might just be between shoulder and head height, rather than above the head.
Sheldon Cottrell looking mean down there on the boundary somewhere, looking very intent. He's a very smiley man, usually, Sheldon Cottrell.
Yeah. A lot of brooding West Indian cricketers in the outfield there.
Joseph goes a little wider on the crease, and that's a top edge. Where on earth has that gone? That's been caught by Shea Hope. Must be off the glove. We're going to go upstairs. I think it's not been given. Oh, has it been given? KL Rahul's walking. Good short ball by Alzari Joseph. Cramped KL Rahul for room, and it looped off the glove and slightly swung in the air a little bit as it looped up in the air. But a very simple catch for Shea Hope. Both openers gone caught behind. Alzari Joseph and a few of the other West Indian bowlers had just managed to tie KL Rahul down a little bit, and he perishes in the attempt to break free of those shackles. He goes for 77, India 167 for 2. Not as fluent as the other day, 77 off 89, KL Rahul, 8 fours and 1 6.
Still a long way to go, everyone. Long way to go to get that target. So this game is not done by any means.
No, not at all. I just think if they take another quick wicket now,
I know.
We shall see. I think there might be a little twist in the tail.
Could be. Mojo, who sent us that lovely picture of the Cuttack sun, says, will there be any type of gathering between Guerrilla Cricket and Guerrilla Cricket South Africa during Boxing Day match?
We may do a.
There might be a Skype.
We may do some
Skype
Skype calls,
gathering.
yeah.
I don't think we're due to meet in person. Not to say that's never going to happen. That probably will at some point.
We had Empo, didn't we, here earlier in the
Oh, I didn't meet him.
season?
We had him on during the Afghanistan Ireland test, and yes, the Afghanistan Ireland test in Dehradun. Well, we also spoke to Rog, who was out there in Dehradun, and got us a little exclusive interview with new Test captain, new all format captain Andy Walburney's father.
Yeah, he gets around, does Rog, doesn't he?
Yeah. That brings the India's number 4 to the crease, the man who's made that number 4 position somewhat his own in the post-World Cup semi-rebuild. It's this man.
Diving away at the edge of the blade, so tragic. Rolling in pain, I feel it's tragic.
I want to know how many outfits Rogers brought with him. At least 3.
Shreyas facing up to his first ball from Alzari Joseph, his back of a length, and defended back to the bowler. That is no run. Successful stuff from Chemo Paul. He and Jason Holder have taken the 2 wickets to fall today, both the openers caught behind. But India still in a pretty decent position after 30 overs, just the 2 wickets lost, and India find themselves 167 for 2.
Everyone, I'm going to say bye-bye, Merry season to you, and see you in the new year at some point.
See you anon, Grubster.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Alternative cricket commentary, bringing you laughs, bringing you jingles, bringing you joy. We are Gorillas. We need your patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket.
So Roston Chase just bowls the first ball of the 31st over. It is played down, no score comes off it. And we have in the main chair with one of his many changes of clothing today, we've gone from Viv Richards, San Fran 49ers, and we've now got, ta-da!
I'm repping the aforementioned New Ireland captain, Balbo, Andrew Balburney. Poor old Irish cricketers are having games cancelled left, right and centre, so I'm going to just give them a shout. And of course they play the West Indies next. And Ralston Chase is bowling to Shreyas Iyer, who's the new batsman. Gets a run off his second ball. Cut out to backward point, and he's not wearing. He's showing us his lovely Bakwath hair. And Kohli, in a cap with his collar popped, is going to look to see India home here as we enter the 31st over. He's facing up to Chase. India 169 for 2. Both openers have gone. He's back foot driving this to extra cover where it's well fielded. And West Indies are certainly not giving up the ghost here. India got off to a super start, but a couple of wickets just pegging things, and Chase has joined another couple of dots here, just one from 4 balls. And David Brooke is to my right on the jingles.
Hello, Rog.
Hello,
Jules.
And from a West Indian perspective, there's signs of perhaps a miracle defence here, but Kohli's playing a square drive out to Hetmeyer, who's charging as best he can, but they'll come through for 2. But certainly an intriguing game we have, poised with the series on the line.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you would put your money on India at this stage, but just because West Indies keep on chipping away with those wickets, and Hetmeyer in the field has been bloody brilliant. He's been here, there, and everywhere. He's saved quite a few runs. So that's going to be an interesting ending, I reckon.
He's like $1 million in the field, that guy. Oh, he just earned $1 million.
He's got more work to do here. A simple one as he just comes in off the fence and restricts Kohli to a single. It's the end of that chase over at 172 for 2.
Shimon Hetmeyer fielding like a man that's just been offered £500,000 to play for a few weeks. The idea.
Yeah, it would put a spring in anyone's step.
Well, it would, wouldn't it?
Zulfikar Ahmed says India will win. And Hidayat Khanjani wants to know who the batsmen are at the moment.
Well, Well,
Should we-
you'll have heard of them. Virat Kohli is one. Do you want to let's do
Well,
it
let's do that
musically?
jingle, that Shreyas Iyer jingle again. That was worth hearing again, isn't it?
Diving away at the edge of the place, so tragic. Rolling in pain, I feel again, it's tragic. And you
Clipped off the legs, Kohli. The bowling of Alzari Joseph down to long leg. Cottrell does the fielding, just the one.
Not that you'd know necessarily that jingle was for Shreyas Iyer, but it's a yellow, so it's worth playing.
Ah, is it a yellow? They were just on tour recently. Did you catch them?
Oh, Jeff Lynn's yellow. That's not the real
Oh, it's
thing,
not-
is it?
oh,
It's a
dear.
reincarnation.
Right.
Jeff
Would you
Lynn
not-
with,
you wouldn't
well, it's
touch
Jeff
that?
Lynn with Take That's backing band.
Oh, yeah. Some of my friends were in the string section.
Oh,
They had a good
yes.
time on tour. I know.
No,
that.
I'm sure. To be honest, they do a really good job. Yeah, they replicated the yellow sound brilliantly.
Joseph short on the hip of Shreyas, who's had to put on a lid, and he gets his single down to Cottrell again. Neatly tucked off his hip, and Shreyas, this young player, good situation for him to come in with his skipper. You know, a skipper who's so well experienced in these chases. But if Shreyas could see him over the line too, it would do him no harm.
You know, going back to what you're saying about, Jeff Lynn's yellow, it's like if Virat Kohli was to call this team Virat Kohli's India, that's how I feel about it. You know, I know
Okay.
one person's very instrumental, but it's not their whole gig, you know.
Sure.
Paul McCartney's Beatles. would play.
Yeah. Violent pull shot, a brilliant one from Kohli. It wasn't even that short, but he's mullered it along the ground, beating mid wicket and smashing into that sponge.
Certainly is, and I'm just looking for what I really, really would like to say is 4 to the floor, but I can't actually find it. Oh no.
1, 2,
3,
3,
4,
4.
4 to the floor. Haven't got it.
Yeah, cracking shot that. Just leant back, but again, as I heard you talking about, the movement weren't that critical. It was his judgment of length. And this one is shorter and more pullable. It was in the air a touch. Mid wicket might have been interested, but it's gone to his right.
But it wasn't actually to the floor.
Not
that
as much. No, I
ended
wonder.
up on the floor.
He just put it. It's cracked off the bat. That Pollard, who's the man there, didn't seem to make an attempt at the catch. It was just absolutely flashed past him, but it was sort of head height. Interesting that Joseph would follow up with a short ball, and Kohli was right in position to dispatch it.
Yeah, from a West Indies point of view, I hope I don't have to go through the entire jingle selection of boundary ditties here.
And Hetmeyer wonders. Now this is funny. You mentioned Hetmeyer. You've been impressed with Hetmeyer, Jules. So have I. I think he has a feel like he's a little petit general out there. I'm sure he's going to be the next captain of the West Indies. Would you think? He's captained the under-19s, and he sort of reacts like a vice. He's not the official vice captain or anything like that, is he?
Do you know, I don't think West Indies named a vice captain
Right.
for this particular series, but you're right, he's next in line, I think, yes.
Yeah. This one's just nudged down to third man for a Kohli single. He goes to 38 off 36.
Yeah, he's got to be next in line because he's going to be a permanent fixture for hopefully for many years to come in this ODI side. He represents West Indies in all formats, and yeah, the way he operates in the field, it's not just his live wire fielding, but it seems like he's got good cricket brain. Not always in evidence when he chooses his shots, some would say, but he's got great awareness on the field, hasn't he? And he's really involved in the game. He's not a passive spectator like Evan Lewis, for example.
Joseph's charging in. It was a good one that tailed into Shreyas, who played it well. Again, just that nudge down to third man for a single, and expensive over 12 from it. India back on track with 184 for 2 off 32.
Just to say that we are on Facebook on Crick Tracker, and we're also on Twitter, and you can also access us via YouTube and the website too. Just to say on Twitter, Mojo says, looks like a journalism mistake. So it's referring to a bit of a Twitter storm that's going on between Stormzy and ITV. ITV have massively misquoted Stormzy. Stormzy has come back at them, and to be fair, ITV, if you're going after Stormzy, everything that he's doing at the moment to try and help support kids in South London, you can absolutely go and get bent if you want to take down Stormzy, because it's just ridiculous. It's better than chucking 20,000 police and no support for the youth. So just this crap media coverage at the moment of just general things going on in this country is ridiculous. So crack on, Stormzy, keep doing what you're doing, mate.
Well said.
It's good South East London representing from the Gorilla Studios.
Who is it, out of interest, Jules? I know there was a sort of finality to your last sentence there, but who is it at ITV who's picked the fight with him, as it were?
It's just come out on ITV News, so they've misquoted him,
Right.
saying something which I'm not going to wear 'cause it's
Right.
just ridiculous. It
Yeah.
fuels their fire.
Kimo Paul's back into the attack, and he shows us one of his slow bouncers, which Shreyas Iyer does really well in getting underneath, because it didn't get up very high. It was pitched very close to, pitched in Paul's own third, well directed, and Shreyas chose the right option. I think just didn't want to take it on, because they're very hard to judge the pace of these slow bouncers of Kimo Paul, and he just got right underneath it. But Kimo back into the attack. His sixth over, he's gone none for 30 so far.
Muhammad Ramat Ali has just said, wow.
Well, an interesting bit of footwork from Shreyas. He's going to get 4 for it. He danced around the crease and beat Ross and chased on a third man. Ralston has not put in a big effort out in the paddock there tonight. Other fielders would have got to this. I think it was strange.
This was
but
poor from
Yeah.
Ralston again. He's let himself down, I think, in the just needed to commit fully to a dive there.
yeah,
You know, the sort of piece of fielding you'd see on a lot of cricket grounds, but surely not at international level, and probably not even in first-class white ball level. You should have got a hand to that.
yeah, you got to lay out for those. He just tried to bend down with one hand, and it screamed down past him. This is pulled round the corner. Is it caught? Alzari Joseph has taken a catch down at long leg. The pull shot off Paul, and Alzari's done really well. Scooped it up off just above the grass. They probably want to check
I
it.
think they're going to have a look at that.
I think that Shreyas isn't that keen to walk off, but no, I think he's been sent packing. I think they're going to take Alzari's word for it. Yes, he gone.
For a while, it looked as though he hadn't taken, run in and slightly misjudged it, didn't it? Like he hadn't run in far enough to take the catch, but there doesn't seem to be any doubt about that as far as the umpires are concerned.
Yeah.
Very subdued response from the West Indies, though. Just as soon as they licking the wicket, but they're just showing the replay now. It'd be quite interesting to see. Oh, as it loops up, just goes it
Oh, it's
up.
good.
Goes
It's
in
good.
easily enough. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a clean catch.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good catch as
Yeah,
well. wasn't
and
it?
often
He was
with the-
diving full length.
Often with the West Indies, they're not they're this sort of, it's a cliche, but they're cool customers. They don't make a big show of thing. If you remember the run out of Jadeja and Ralston Chase, he did it so quickly that the umpire hadn't even noticed, and maybe Shreyas kind of the way Joseph. Well, maybe I was guilty of it too. It was hard to tell. It was a low catch. He dived forward, but he was in control of. He judged it as best he wanted to judge it and took a comfortable catch. Didn't have to extend those long arms of his. Got it a good maybe 6 inches off the ground, dived forward, secured it, got up and said, "Yeah, there's 3 wickets down. Let's go and win this match."
Yeah, I mean, there's
Really?
there's 3 wickets in reasonably quick succession. There's an end that's exposed, so it's bubbling up to be an interesting finish. And West Indies are in with a chance.
Tanay Paul has gone, wow, 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 wow. Oops, Shreyas Iyer. And Nandan Atutan says, very nice. So thank you for coming in on Crick Tracker. We're still here. Send in your comments where you're listening to from around the world. We've got Paraguay, we've had India, we had anyone tweet in or message in from the West Indies at all? I don't think so this morning. Can't call anything. We've had Spain, that's been covered. You need one of those little scratch maps that you can get. Where are people calling in from say, oh, we'll just tick off that country, play country bingo.
You haven't heard from Sister Rosie today. Was Sister Rosie? Is she based out in the West Indies? She's quite a frequent tweeter.
Oh, really?
I think, yeah.
Ah, Sister Rosie, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Gone all religious.
not massive
Sister
listenership in
Rosie.
the Caribbean, but
Well, you've got the contacts, David. Come on, spread the word.
No, exactly, exactly.
Well, hello to you, wherever you are. Paraguay is an exciting one, for sure. I wonder how Paraguay cricket is progressing. Any news on that, Jules?
So, usually it's expats. I couldn't say for Paraguay an example. I was in South America recently. The main sort of stay of cricket has been sort of bubbling up with expats moving over, but there is a lot of cricket being played amongst the youth in much of the country. Sort of, well, I was in Brazil, amongst Brazilian youth and trying to get kids playing cricket and not into gangs and stuff, which is good. A similar thing going on in Peru, I see. So it does look like expanding there. I think historically people have picked up sort of Argentina for playing cricket in that neck of the woods, and I know there's been some sort of rascal cricket tours there by teams from the UK.
Yeah, Cricket Argentina have a link up with Barbados Cricket Association, who are helping them and having an exchange of coaches and various other things. Yeah.
Well, I think they probably took a drinks break there, but they are back, and the new batsman is.
I don't know whether you caught that, Rog. That's.
And he's watching his skipper look, and the skipper wants to take him for a single, but Pant probably rightly says no, back you get, because Kyrie Pierre was flying in at point. So a dot ball to follow up, a really good wicket, a genuine, one of Kimo Paul's effort bouncers. It was on the ribs of Shreyas, who played the pull shot. Pollard's heart was in his mouth, but Joseph did a really good job for a tall guy to get down and secure that catch, and as he landed on his elbows, held it in, and Kimo Paul was pumped, and he's loved to add the skipper to his bag, but he's playing this one on the pull, but keep down into the ground and fielded by Pollard, and Pollard will be delighted with the way his young chargers have got this game back.
But that catch certainly worth looking at again. Alzari Joseph running in and taking difficult chance, full length in front of him, picking it up, scooping it up off the ground. And Kimo Paul was absolutely delighted with that. Big exultation to the rest of the side to take that wicket and do something with it.
This is a full one clipped by Kohli, but his opposite number does the fielding, and are really successful with that. 1 for 4 from it. Kimo Paul's back into the game, and India 185 for 3. No, 188 for 3, my fault. After 33.
So we have someone listening from Mexico. Hola. Alejandro is messaged in from there. Wow. Tanae Paul, where are you guys from? So do you want to go around? Over to you, Mr. Brook, first.
England.
I'm from Northern Ireland, although I was born in Jamaica, so that's why I skew towards the West Indies.
Oh, well, that's a story in itself.
Well, yeah.
And that's one that we're obviously not going to get.
Well, no, I often. My father worked there for a year, just lecturing in the University of West Indies, and I was born there.
As you do.
I've never been back. I moved when I was 3 months old back to Belfast, but my whole sort of upbringing in cricket and loving cricket was bounded to identifying with the West Indies and cheering for them. Obviously, now that Ireland play Test matches, those are my main loyalties. But mother cricket has my undevoted love and attention ultimately.
Oh, I'm loving it.
Well, yeah. And Jules, you get about, don't you? You get all over the place. But where are you from?
I mean, it's still about most girls from Luton that we do tend to get about. Well, Dunstable technically.
Right. Okay. Pant's first ball is driven in the offside, slightly misfielded by Pollard, who's a bit grumpy with himself. He might have landed awkwardly on his elbow, but he parried it. They got through for a single.
But you were outed before as an Essex fan, Jules, is that right?
Well, I don't to out, I'd quite happily self-admit, but yes, I do support Essex.
Is that what's it called, virtual signalling?
That's what it is.
I don't know what that means, but I thought I'd throw that in.
I've learned all different words. What did I learn yesterday? Cuffing, which I've never heard of before.
Yeah, cuffing at this time of year. I learned that one this year, yeah. Get yourself a partner for the cold winter months, and then dump them after Valentine's Day. I think that's the point. As Holders into Kohli, gets a quick single in the offside.
But you're one of the coaching and scoring team at Surrey County Cricket Club, Jules.
So I did do a bit of coaching with Surrey for the age group levels, but yeah, help out, do the scoreboards over at the Oval, which is great fun. And also score for a side in Surrey, the mighty old Wimbledonians, who got promoted this year. So yeah, hopefully we'll have a good season this year again, but we shall see.
A strong, storied club, aren't they? Or am I thinking of Wimbledon Cricket Club?
I think probably thinking of Wimbledon Cricket Club, but I mean I love old Wimbledon. It's like the UN of cricket in southwest London, so it's the beauty of it.
Great. Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear more about your recent trip to Brazil when we can, as Holders over the wicket to Pant, driving really nicely through extra cover, well fielded by mid-off, going to his right. They get one, and that's Pollard had put himself there, I think, for an easier life, and then he had to go and do a bit more fielding. And he gets up with a rueful grin, but he's saved his side 2 or 3 there.
Probably worth, if people haven't seen anything of Cricket Brazil before, look them up on Twitter. They do some fantastic work in Minas Gerais, which is about 6 hours north of the capital Rio, getting kids basically playing cricket, not going into gangs, and supporting them through university. So some great work going on there, and about to start some in Rio too.
This is a lovely straight drive from Kohli. It beats mid-off all the way along the carpet.
It was only a push, wasn't it, this shot from Cody, but it's beaten Jason Holder, and it also beat the mid-off. The mid-off is quite wide, and it's just been pushed. It's a push shot, but it's gone whistling straight down to a very, very straight long off.
Yeah, class batting from Kohli. Just head right over it, feet to the ball, and just leaning over it with a straight bat. Holder had a bit of issues with the wet mud in his spikes, but he's in again now to Kohli. He's looking to dab this past point, but won't beat Pierre, who does some good work in there.
Achal Kondia says, Guerrilla Cricket, you guys felt all the static emotions when England won the World Cup, or were you guys streaming when the infamous Ben Stokes over was bowled, and what were the emotions then?
Oh, well, we certainly were. I wasn't on. I think Tony Bishop and Knuckle, I think, were helming that.
It was
possibly Grubby as
heroically
well.
captured by the team at Guerrilla Cricket, yes, who were commenting on every ball of the World Cup.
Kohli gets a short one when she ducks inside. He goes over his right shoulder, and just 7 from that over, 195 for 3 after 34. No, it's on the World Cup final, I think.
The World Cup final.
Yeah, I think the guys making a comparison to what Knuckles said about T20, and then I think about the current World Cup. And I think we have a habit of times of judging a player by one over or an incident that happens in the match. You know, Ben Stokes has had, off and on the field, a very up and down career, but you can only judge a man for how they currently are and how they currently are behaving both on and off the field. And it was, I don't know if anyone watched Sports Personality last week. For listeners outside of the UK, in the UK we have a big thing where you all vote in and nominate your top sports star. It always amazes me how certain people get in that category and who sometimes win that. Ben Stokes won it for this year. I mean, he single-handedly, I think, revived England's and the England nation in Wales as well in terms of cricket and probably across the world.
Keep ball over the wicket to Pant, who gets his really fine off his hip, and a cruise, a very useful boundary. Yeah, just
that was easy.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. He got what it deserved. Can't stray onto his hips, and very neatly controlled by Pant.
It's often the first ball of the over. Notice on a few occasions in this innings, down the leg side from 2 or 3 of the bowlers, Cottrell, Holder and Porter, straying with that first ball, and once you've conceded the boundary off the first ball, it's just that much harder, isn't it, for the bowler to come back.
Fine leg might have gone a bit finer, but Pant this time will just dot it into the offside and hair through for a quick single. Again, good running good understanding between these two, seemingly so far.
I mean, Ben Stokes was the out-and-out winner of that Sports Personality of the Year, wasn't it? I mean, I can't imagine that it would have been that close. Who was second? It was
Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton, yeah.
The petrol heads always get. Hamilton's won it a couple of times, hasn't he?
Yeah,
recently, and they always vote in a big block, but there was no denying Stokesy. Paul's in very wide. Kohli goes chasing it and can't beat Ralston Chase at cover. Good to see Chase restoring a bit of his fielding reputation there, and he knows it. A little smile to himself there. He knows he's back in favour.
Roger, that was the first first cricketer to win Sports Personality of the Year since 2005, the last time cricket was on free-to-air television.
Such as how Stokes has captured the nation with cricket this summer.
Yeah.
If you can't see it, you're not going to vote for it.
So there's a slow bouncer. Kohli waits and swivels, pulling it round the long leg for 1.
Do you know
it
what?
still makes a huge difference if you're in front of everyone in the nation rather than just behind a paywall. Then, imagine the World Cup football being behind a paywall, there'd be outrage.
I find one thing quite interesting is that actually that Raheem Sterling wasn't up there sort of in the bounce, because what he's doing off the field in terms of actually tackling racism and not just sort of turning the other cheek as it has been previously, but actually tackling it, excuse the football pun, but head on.
Scruffy drive to mid-off, no run, punt.
Because what he's put out there in terms of actually sort of building confidence for young black kids, I think or just anybody, has just been really, really powerful. And I don't know, there's something more should have been recognised of that in that coverage, but you can't give it to everyone, can you?
Well, he had that feature at the start, didn't he? They did quite.
Yeah, I did think it was good at Lineker's interview.
Half an hour.
Yeah.
They had the interview with Lineker and stuff, but.
Oh, he's chopped on!
Bowled him.
Pant is gone for 7. A short one that stayed a bit low, and he was looking to play to the offside with no feet, and he chopped it under the stumps. 201 for 4.
I tell you, Chemo Paul really deserved that, 'cause he's putting everything into this. It means a lot to him. He hasn't given up, and most of the West Indians haven't given up under this Pollard captaincy. Another wicket, getting interesting now. What's that? 5 down?
4 down. 201 for 4.
Okay, I'm going ahead of myself here.
But yeah, well done, Chemo. He has 2 for 40 from 7. And Pant looks rueful. He's not able to stay with this skipper.
We saw how dangerous he was in the last ODI, when so good person to see the back off from West Indies' point of view. But as long as Jadeja's on the hutch, you've still got a huge chance.
Well, 115 short off from the last 15 required. 6 wickets. It's perfectly poised.
Yeah.
Where would you rather be?
Well, do you know what? I'd kind of want to be there because it'd be nice and warm, a bit warmer than Sydenham,
Yeah, maybe.
but otherwise, right here, listening to what the hell's going on.
Too warm, perhaps? Would it be too warm?
Oh no, you can never be too warm. No.
Not as warm as the bottom of that saucepan.
Oh, I've absolutely nuked it, haven't
Yeah,
I?
you've absolutely.
Would you
Might
say
need to-
New South Wales is a little too warm at the moment?
Oh, geez, I just feel for everybody out there. It's really
So
sad.
I don't wish to be flippant about that.
Absolutely sad. There was a picture yesterday that was on Twitter. It's just got a roadway and just fire bellowing in, and you just think, geez, and that's not, that's people's lives, homes, but that's wildlife being lost. Oh, it's just a shocker.
It's not to be Jadeja. The new batsman is a man who hasn't bowled, but it's time for him to do something.
And who is it, Rog?
It's little Kader Jadhav.
Oh, it's little Kader Jadhav.
Yeah,
It's this
little
man.
barrel of a man.
Thank God his mom and dad, they made an all-rounder. He can bowl and bat and he can hit some fours.
He'll have to wait because a new over begins. Holder to Kohli, and he'll soon be in action as Kohli turns one into the onside for 1. Hetmeyer getting himself involved with some fielding, and these West Indies should have their danders up.
So would you say Kader Jadhav was a batting all-rounder rather than a bowling all-rounder?
I think so. The fact he hasn't been employed in his last couple of games at all, and yeah, coming in at 6.
Would you say Pant was a little bit unlucky there? I mean, he got an inside edge, but he was in no position to play that shot from Paul, and he chopped on thick inside edge onto the stumps.
Nah.
He's not a good day all round, really, has he? It's been a bit sort of
How many catches went down today?
3 or 4. wasn't it?
4 if you're being highly mean. Jadhav very studiously behind his first one.
And if you weren't being mean, 3,
2.5.
2.5. The 2 definite chances that should have been taken.
I think 1 definite,
Okay.
and then 3 halves.
3 halves.
DD Taylor's very excited. West Indies, we can do it on Cricket Tracker. We've got some West Indies love coming through at last, which
Oh
is
yes,
good.
DD Taylor. They saw them the other day. Hello, DD.
Well, messages.
Jadhav will get off the mark with a quick single into the onside.
You can never be too warm. Well, I'm more than happy to come and visit. It's apparently one of the hottest days ever recorded in Australia, twice already this month.
Oh yikes!
Jeez.
And they had to cancel a BBL game, didn't they? Halfway through that.
Well, yeah,
at
the
Monaco Oval.
smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, the air quality wasn't good enough, and the umpires took them off in the Sydney. In Sydney,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Monaco Oval. Yeah. So a few Indian fans there looking a little anxious, but King Kohli will hope to see them through. He's on 45 and he's pulling hard. with good wrist control, but Hetmeyer out at deep square does the fielding.
Has he got a double out there? He seems to be everywhere around the field. Or is it just like one? He shared his other shirt. He's given the mate a jumper. He's got the shirt on. Jobs are good. He's everywhere.
Yeah, maybe. I suppose there's been a bit of right hand, left hand going on, so he's been.
You're right, Jules. I've never really focused on Hetmeyer's fielding before, but you know, he really does get involved, doesn't he? And he puts himself into the action.
He's definitely put on some muscle mass. And certainly since the English summer. Jadov gets a single down to third man. Purin this time.
It's really gone slow. He's just taken the sort of buzz and the nip out of it on India's innings. I'd love to might do a little bit of stunt researching for the next 10 seconds to see how much it's slowed down. Oh,
And Grubby's still here. Oh, Grubby finally going to take himself away. Merry Christmas to you.
Club, so don't forget where your friends are on Boxing Day during the King George meeting. Don't forget, my text is always open. Thank you very much, Grubby. Lost in translation was the tip. A man who knows his horses.
Back of a length. Coley looking for a single. Keeper hits, and he does. Shea Hope is doing the fielding, and Jadov will be checked upon. He'll be racing through, but Coley played this really fine down, and he's looking nervous. I suppose Coley calls those as much as the non-striker. All of India look anxiously on at this. And he's safe. Well run by Kedar Jadov. That's why he's their boundary fielder of choice, because he's very nippy. And a good single, all in all. Oof. Barrows are being mopped in relief.
Yeah, there wasn't much in it, but it was a great bit of fielding. And, wow, could the game swing on that little interlude there?
End of that 36th over.
Dee Taylor says good morning. Thank you guys for the live feed. Good morning,
pleasure,
Ahmed.
Dee Dee. What's happening on the Twitter? What's this photo that someone sent in?
So, Missy Jazz has said, what were the emotions? Something like this. I'll do a little retweet of the photo. There's a lot of hugging going on. Is that Pralab and Grubby giving a big hug? It is to do a bit of a retweet.
Upon England's World Cup win, I believe.
Yes.
Coley driving to mid-off. Cottrell does the fielding and they'll get a buzzer from it.
There, no one backing up.
Cottrell, I think he was right to have a go.
Yeah, I think Cottrell was right to throw, but no one had made their way to the stumps. Another little error there from the West Indies, which could be costly.
Yeah, maybe could the
was
bowler
pushed up
race
to Cottrell at mid-off. And there was, there was no one. Bowler hadn't gone back to the stumps, and a little bit tardy. The man coming in from deep square leg perhaps could have made more of an effort to back it up.
Coley turned a 1 into a 2, and he's on an even 49 as he waits for Kemo Paul and cuts him hard, but straight to the man at point.
Jeff Perkins, pants off. This is hotting up.
Pants off. Well, I'll unzip a leg. How about that?
Afternoon to you, JP. Thank you for the music.
Yes.
For giving it to us.
Thanks, Abba. I can't believe we've not made more things on Risba Pant's name before.
Do
you really want to invite those, Jules?
No, not in Slice. I've
No?
just
Are you
realised
sure?
the error of my commentating ways there, which is often
They can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Well, there's a slow bounce that was going on the leg side. Coley chased it, and he brings up his 50 by popping it just down the long leg. His 55th in ODIs. And that's not counting the other times he's gone to made it 3 figures.
Is it me, Roger? Are these jingles still pretty quiet at the moment? I don't know whether Knackle's able to do anything about that if he's listening.
It's just 98 times he's reached 50. 43 of those he's gone on to make 100. Jadov turns a single into the onside. It's 210 for 4.
Yeah, you wouldn't bet against that today, would you? Converting this into a ton, because the game's kind of set up for him. 107, 106 more needed, and who's to say Cody won't get 50 more of them?
Yeah, there's all kinds of stats out there about his hundreds in chases. I think he.
I was just very impressed by you sort of plugged that out for me. You just sort of nonchalantly dropped it in there, carried on. There wasn't any looking at papers or your phone. You just went, oh, this is what it is. We'll just move on.
It just came up on the screen. That's
Oh,
there's
yeah.
there's no magic to it. Coley plays it to cover. He can't get a run.
Too
No,
honest.
Jules, I'm not that good. Come
I
on.
was genuinely just like, oh, this man's a bloody genius. He's got a great
No,
memory
I'm
for
not
stats.
I'm not. Yes, I'm not knuckle. But yeah, I'd love to, I'm sure someone or Nako might have it to hand his record in chases. I'm sure he has the record for that. He's trying to get a run on the offside, but no, and he's angry with Jadav. He said, "Come on, we were able to get one to the keeper. Trust me that I can get one to the man at point." But no, he has to stay where he is. And Jadav will face the next over.
Yeah, he wants
37 gone. He wanted the strike. Yeah.
Well, he did want the strike. Yeah, he's very annoyed, almost as though Jadav would, was going to be running to the danger end, and that therefore that shouldn't be an issue. Kohli was safe. He would have run down to the bowler. So was he prepared to make Jadav the sacrificial lamb just to get on strike? Do you think there was a signal there?
No, I don't think there was. I think Jadav was quite right to. But it just shows Kohli's pretty twitchy.
Yeah.
He's but he knows his game better than anyone maybe in the history of ODIs, and he's a skipper. Skipper demands.
He made his displeasure known to Jadav.
And he's still grumpy about it. They've had a little mid-over chat, but he's still swiping at the ground there. He's very het up. Because India need 8.15 and over from these last 13.
He's also a very selfish batsman, so that's probably why he's throwing his toys at the pram.
You said it.
Oh, I'm about to get vitriol. That's lost us all our Facebook followers.
Not at all. No, you speak freely. It's good to hear.
Yeah, are you going to back it
back
up with any justification?
No, well, just, he is a world-class batsman. I'm not going to dispute that, but his attitude.
As Jadav pushing forward with a scrappy bit of defence, he survives.
I mean, Jeffrey
no
Boycott
run.
was known as selfish. Shiv Chanderpaul was known as selfish. You putting him into that category? Does he look for the red inker, the not-out score?
Shiv Chanderpaul's God, I love that man. He carried on batting to what he was like in his mid-40s. Didn't he play with his son at some point? And he'd always get runs.
Yes.
And Chanderpaul, it seems like a nice bloke, whereas Kohli, having had some encounters with him, and just near his presence, just not very impressed with the cut of his jib. Good batsman, needs to learn to be a bit nicer.
Right.
Well, he'll get his wish now. He's halfway down the pitch already, looking for a single. As Jadav turned this one into the offside. I wonder where Kohli began his backing up there, because as soon as I looked, he was more than halfway down the track. And he's compiled his 50, which we'll see. There was some trademark, lovely cover driving. There's
So
a couple
Jules,
of violent pulls.
You've had a close encounter of the Kohli kind.
Oh yeah, kind of took over the oval last year, and just wait for this ball to be bowled.
That was no. We'll come back to that. Joseph is at the top of his mark. Kohli standing just outside his crease, waits for him. It's down the leg side. They're asking more hope than expectation, and it's sure enough. Spread arms from the umpire. But yes, Jules, back on Kohli at the oval.
We took over half the oval, so you couldn't access it, which was just troublesome for anybody working, doing setup, corporates, anything like that. But then, on entering into the ground,
As he's clipping this off his pads, really well done to the left of long leg. Kohli with one of these. He knows you're talking about him, Jules. You get him fired up.
it's the farm care. So if I moan about someone, they invariably go and hit 4s and 6s, and if I say someone's bowling absolute tosh, they end up getting a wicket. So it's just kind of how it rolls. But yeah, walking into the ground, the Indian team, the majority of the Indian players were shaking hands. Kohli stuck his nose up in the air and just ignored everybody, including this really cute granny who really wanted his autograph. Just unnecessary.
He's trying to turn a 1 into a 2 here, but Cottrell is off the long leg fence and flings it in. Doesn't have to be accurate, but he just had to get the ball in the air, and Kohli was dissuaded. But he is really looking to take over this game, isn't he, with this dominant personality of his.
He sounds quite maybe arrogant off the field, but do you think he's a selfish player on the field, Jules?
Yes, and I say this with a bit of a caveat. I actually feel that he puts himself first and then the team second.
Jadav waits for a short one, nudges it down to third man, and it's an awful bit of fielding by Jason Holder, and that is really dispiriting for the bowler, for all West Indians, because again it just looks lazy. I know you're a tall man. And Knuckle has furnished me with the stats I was looking for. Top man Knuckle. He has 26 of his hundreds batting second, 31 50s. He averages 69 batting second. That just came up on the screen. And he holds the record for ODI tons batting second by some distance. So with his 26 tons, the next man is Sachin Tendulkar on 17.
There's a shocker from Jason Holder on the boundary there. Should really have stopped that one.
Jadav, who's on 8, he'll just be looking for a nice little 30 not out. Would do him nicely. He can't get a run that time. It's 2-2-1 for 4, needing 316, and there are 12 overs left. And bear in mind, Sachin had 100 more innings than Kohli. So yeah, those astonishing records.
Yeah, it's an astonishing record, and I think we'd all agree that whatever his, the pros and cons of his attitude on and off the field, it's an amazing record as a batsman. And, well, pretty good record as a captain as well. Do you think he gets the best out of his players? I mean, well, I was talking to a gathering of Indian students recently in the line of work, and I did a poll. I said, Dhoni or Kohli? Kohli or Dhoni? Who's the better captain? And I was surprised to see it was like 95% voted for Dhoni. Yeah.
Because he's more supportive. As a captain, you're looking for someone that is going to support you. Your things are going to go wrong, but it's actually not berating, it's more supporting and doing that development work.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from on that.
West Indies looking for a bowler to seize back initiative, and it's Cottrell they've called upon, but he serves up a juicy full toss on the pads of the batsman. He flicks this. It's Kohli, of course, backward of square. And he goes to 59. This is a bit of a present from the returning Jamaican. Kohli tucks it away with ease. 91 from 71 is the equation. 6 wickets in hand. And those piercing eyes surveying the field is a pretty of a standard one. The men in the boundary are square or backward of it. So this Cottrell pitches up wide of off stump, driven out to the offside sweeper. One more to Kohli.
I mean, Kohli's a guy you would have in your team. You'd give him a dressing room, his ego a dressing room, and have all the remaining 10 players in the other. But because you know he's going to get you the runs. But it's just, as a captain, I just can't see it. He's there berating, he's having a go, he's having a pop, and that's just not encouraging, especially if you're a newer player coming into the side. You want someone that's going to be supportive. Now, we've seen Pollard here. Okay, he's got a bit frustrated, but actually he's been encouraging, he's been protecting the side, and then that's captaincy for you. That's leading men.
Short, and just Jadav has played this shot a few times. Just a little nudge down to Puran at third man for one more.
So if Kohli hadn't been the world-class batsman that he is, are you saying that he wouldn't be a natural captain of this India team?
Yep. I'm not sure who you'd have. That's the thing I'm trying to sort of rattle through my mind right now.
Maybe Rohit, someone like Rohit is a bit of an antidote to Kohli personality-wise. But it's certainly Kohli's team now, and he's pulling Cottrell backward of square. Fielder there. I was glad to see him being very watchful, getting down on the long barrier position. And Kohli's grumpy about something. He's tiresome. I don't mean this too much of a criticism, but he's so much energy in everything he does. It's from a man of my kind of, I can't relate to someone who's so
angry.
Yeah, or sort of juiced.
But he wears his heart on his sleeve. You know, you get those full range of emotions from Kohli. You know.
Yeah. And Cottrell is bowled Jadav, full and straight. March, march, march. Salute. It's 2:38 for 5.
That was a great ball from Cottrell. A little bit of late movement in the air. It was full, just swung a little bit, and Jadav played across that, And I wonder if Kohli's going to be stranded at the other end. That is now 5 down for 2-2-8.
Yeah, and it was quick too. It was just straight. Jada played all around it, off and middle, separated from each other.
And the Sheldon Cottrell salute in all its glory.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess going back to the great man Kohli, you know, he wears his heart on his sleeve, so you get the full range of emotions. Isn't he also capable of showing great pleasure at the successes of his teammates as well? You see him on the boundary, you know, showing great pleasure when a teammate gets a 50 or 100. You see him also giving encouragement, and you know, he single-handedly seems to have revived, you know, Test match cricket in India. He's made such a contribution to the game. I feel an urge to launch my defence of the esteemed man.
I think, as Jeff Perkins says, it's because he gave me the Kohli shoulder treatment.
Nice one, Jeff. The Kohli shoulder. Yeah, you know, you can imagine him being a little bit aloof. Yeah, I did meet someone who shared the same guru as Virat Kohli. It was an interesting insight.
Can you tell us who this person would tell?
I would be killed.
Oh, okay. Well, fine. All right. Who's your guru, Jules?
I don't know
Who's your
about
go-to?
my go-to. Oh well, Sangakkara. That's the man.
Oh, we're back live, and the new batsman is going to get
Surely
4.
no shot. Surely no shot.
I think he got a little glove on it. Yeah, it's been signalled 4 runs. It's 2-3-2 for 5 after 39, and the batsman who affected that clever little deflection was this man.
Ravindra Jadeja, first name on the score sheet for me in the India team after Virat.
We'll get your tweets in a second, but it's all go here. This game reaching a thrilling conclusion. Joseph to Kohli is driving on the up, but straight to cover. No run.
So for people that listen to our podcast, there was one in the summer where I think the phrase came out, keep it humble, keep it Sangha, because Sangakkara is a fantastic cricketer but keeps it humble. And UD on Twitter has said there's a huge section of fans in India who hate Kohli for his arrogance. Humility is a quality held in high regard in the subcontinent, and maybe that's the reason why Dhoni and Sachin are so loved. I agree with that 100%.
That's very interesting. Kohli with a just neat deflection down to third man for another single.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Who was that from, Jules?
Someone called UD.
Hello,
Good
UD.
point. Good point, well made.
Jeff Perkins has asked, has Sheldon turned this match? Is this a Cottrell revolution?
Well, certainly that inexperienced middle order of Shreyas, Pant and Kader have been dispatched pretty quickly, but so Kohli will be pleased to see a more experienced man joining him, and it is this very talented cricketer Ravindra Jadeja, but all those men going in single figures. Shreyas for 7, Pant for 7, Jadav for 9. Kohli.
Collapso.
Calypso. But I mean, you've got quite young players there. You haven't had support down the other end from Kohli, who's just shouted at them like a school teacher from the 1920s.
Yeah, that's a good point. Jadeja's just flirting at one, but he gets it off the meat down safely to third man.
82 from 63 balls, that's the equation now.
Yeah.
And interesting to see the latest Betway odds. Imagines that India's still very firm favourites.
Oh, I wouldn't say very you think very firm? I think 1 wicket away from panic. It's certainly been a Christmas cracker they've served up for us today in our last GC before Christmas. Kohli off the hips for another single. He's content just to rebuild for a moment. And Joseph with 1 for 51 in his 8th over. Doing sterling work in this really interesting competitive ODI with the series on the line. Don't forget, 3-match series in Cuttack. Packed crowd in under the lights.
8-11 India and even money West Indies. So it's time to cash out our bet, Smashel. If we're not confident, now's the time to cash out.
Every Indian fan is glued to it, glued to their seats. Jadeja's whipping one off his hips. They'll just canter through for a single. Evan Lewis makes sure that he's on top of his game, and every West Indian fielder really needs to switch on. Difficult Dewey conditions, but they're all going to be called upon to save every possible run, and if there's a catch coming, going to be on it. I'm going to bid you a Merry Christmas now with the ball to go. And Jules, any parting shots?
No, Merry Christmas everybody. Thanks for a fantastic year at GC Towers. It's been great speaking to you all.
And Alzari Joseph to Coley. The little nudge down to third man. Jason Holder keeps his eyes on it. Thank you, Jason. Safely picked up. Fired in 5 singles from the over. Even though Coley was vigilant to a potential second, but there certainly wasn't one. We will hand you over to David, Mashal and Knuckle to take you home in this thrilling game. Cheerio.
Thanks very much to Roger and to Jules as I attempt the sideways shuffle here. Wishing you the season's greetings. We're having a Gorilla Cricket drink later on. I'm now going to have to switch microphones.
I got it. Yeah, somehow India have found themselves in a position where they still need 79 of the last 10 overs with only 5 wickets in hand. Only really Kohli and Jadeja to come. There's not a lot to come from the lower order from 8, 9, 10 and Jack in this playing 11 for certain for India. And West Indies have brought this back well.
Cottrell bowls, and that's played out by Kohli down to long on for a single, bringing Jadeja on strike. So my first ball stint. The last 10 overs, the most exciting 10 of the match potentially, with 78 needed from 59 balls. And Nakul Mpandi to my right.
Howdy.
And Mashal on my left. Mashal, feeling confident?
I said if we could get 320, it'd be a game with 5 under, so India's still favourites for me.
Here's Cottrell, and that's down the leg side, and that's been missed by Shea Hope.
Wide.
Can't afford that, and West Indies have made too many mistakes in the field today for me that they don't really deserve to win. There's been too many balls through the legs of the fielders, and that one wide down the leg side from Cottrell, and a diving Hope couldn't get a hand to it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
5. Not the easiest take, but we've talked about Shea Hope's keeping, and I find it a little bit baffling that Nicholas Pooran's only kept in 1 ODI when these two have been in the team together.
It was a very late movement from Shea Hope then. You think he would have seen that one going down the leg side and moved a little bit earlier, but maybe that's harsh. Going for a quick single here from the bat of Jadeja, and there's a race down the field, and Cottrell sticks a left boot to try and knock down the stumps to beat Kohli to it, but they get home, and perhaps the left foot of Raheem Sterling might have got him out there.
Yeah, and Jadeja was so quickly so alert that he wanted the second, because the boot actually, I think it would have been tight. I think Kohli might have just been in. No, I think it would have been gone if the
I think
if the kick
I
had
reckon
hit.
Chris Jordan would have got that one based on his footwork I saw in that big match.
I think
match
Jordan would have
yesterday.
picked the ball up and thrown himself at the stumps.
So did you see the little bit of footwork? Never mind the catch. Did you see the
I
footwork on the
didn't.
boundary? Oh, that was an interesting one as well. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Cottrell bowls. Kohli waits for it, jabs it down, and looks up. Jadeja's a winning partner. They go through for a quick single. Words are exchanged, and the thumbs up between Kohli and Jadeja. Basically, Kohli saying, "If it's there, I'm going."
Certainly, I mean, Jadeja's so quick. I mean, Kedar Jadhav is a good batsman, and quite an experienced batsman now, and has batted well with Kohli before. But what will certainly be true is it'll be much easier to run those 1s and 2s with Jadeja at the crease than Kedar Jadhav's the man whose hamstrings are made out of wood.
Pollard getting some advice from Roston Chase there, who's got something to say to him about is it about the field placings or the bowlers, but Roston Chase had something forceful to say to Kieran Pollard. How will West Indies manage this last
They've left
session?
that mid-wicket boundary open for the big slog over the leg side from Jadeja.
Jadeja facing Cottrell, and he plays that down. There's an easy single on offer there down to long on as they jog through. And well, there's no better people at the crease than Kohli and Jadeja from India's point of view, but not that much in the hutch.
Well, no, there really isn't. I mean, you've got Shardul Thakur who can hit a long ball, but he hasn't had that much experience. Mohammad Shami really is a rank slogger, and Navdeep Saini and Kuldeep Yadav not a lot to write home about, because they don't have somebody like Bhuvneshwar Kumar coming in down at number 8.
Kohli's record in successful run chases is second to probably not very many. It's a very, very good record, and he's in pole position now on 66. Waits for Cottrell, I should say. He plays that one out down to third man. Going to look for two, but there isn't two there. As Puran, the person who Knuckle says should be behind the wicket, does the fielding at third man. So that's the. I know it's not the end of the over yet. One ball to go.
There was that wide.
It was a wide, yeah.
10 runs off the over. I mean, they've kind of done the job in terms of the run rate for this over, but another boundary now just makes it that much more comfortable.
I mean, 69 from 55 looks fairly straightforward, doesn't it? Another wicket is West Indies' real only hope. Then they'll expose one end, but Jadeja, he'll want to see this job through as Cottrell bowls to him. He paddles that one onto down to the leg side, and it's Hetmeyer's been very busy this afternoon. He does the fielding. They take a single. At the end of 41 overs, India are 2 for 8 for 5.
To be honest, West Indies have already won the moral victory.
By making it a game?
Before this series started, the ODIs and the T20s, I thought they'd win one game maximum across the 6. And they've taken India to a final winner-takes-all in both versions of the game. You have to remember West Indies are ranked 9th in ODI cricket. So to be taking India to have to try and eke out a win in the final ODI in home territory, I should say. I think West Indies will leave this tour actually with a lot of positives rather than negatives.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of reputations enhanced. I think Cottrell for sure is carrying on his form for the World Cup mostly. Puran, Hetmeyer, I think to some extent. Shea Hope. I mean, obviously those guys were obviously very good before, in good form beforehand. Chemo Paul, I think, has done pretty well through this series.
Yeah, a lot of players will have enhanced their reputations on this tour. Yeah, you can now see a coherent ODI plan, whereas you just couldn't see it during the World Cup.
No, not at all.
No,
all over the shop. And to be fair to you, Masha, you've been talking for maybe even long as I've known you about the need to bring Pollard in to captain the ODI side. You must feel vindicated. I'll leave you to answer that in a moment. It's Holder bowls, and that takes the outside edge of Jadeja's bat, goes down to third man for single.
This is an interesting change in the death overs. Holder has not always done well at the death.
He's got his chance today. But Knuckle, if I can just talk over the Jason Holder jingle, you must feel vindicated with your advocacy of Kieron Pollard as captain. You must like what you've seen.
Yeah, definitely. There is, unless you're practicing insularity, which happens all the time in the Caribbean, and so unless you're doing practicing insularity, or unless you've bought into the lazy journalism that says West Indies T20 players are mercenaries, it wouldn't have taken a rocket scientist to know that Kieron Pollard is a natural leader of men. And in the Caribbean, where there aren't that many captaincy potentials, it had to be somebody from outside the group that captained this team.
Holder into Kohli, plays that one down. He wants 6, he's moving very fast. He wants 2, it's fluid wicket. Even Jadeja at his speed isn't going to make that 2. I mean, yeah, I guess, you say that he's been painted as a bit of a T20 mercenary, and I guess that's come from the board, hasn't it? It's come from the old Cameron regime. It's no coincidence that Pollard's been brought in by new regime under Ricky Skerritt, and he was definitely portrayed as one of the bad guys before.
And
under
in a similar vein, DJ Bravo now making himself available for the T20 squad for these 2 World Cups in 2 years.
His Holder's going to go around the wicket to Jadeja. Just pushes the one available down to long on. Yeah, Dwight, would you like to see DJ Bravo in the T20 team? Who would he replace then, Mash?
That's the difficulty. Either way, DJ is going to play because, alluding to a point that Knuckle just made, West Indies don't have a huge selection of death bowlers. Now, he's not going to play ODIs, but what I'm saying is that in limited overs cricket, so Chemo Paul will bowl the death overs if it gets that far in this game. In T20s, they have no one, so DJ has to be in the side.
It'll be him and Kesrick Williams.
I see Kesrick more as an up-front bowler, and DJ to come in with his variations in the middle and at the death, so they'll force him in.
Holder to Kohli, back of a length. There's no run there. Pierre's in very quickly.
Sorry, so Chemo Paul and DJ Bravo bowling the death overs in the T20 stuff, and I guess in this game Cottrell and Chemo Paul, maybe Joseph will come back for a spell.
I don't think they'll risk Joseph now. Well, I mean, certainly not the death. It's hard to know how they're going to rotate this. I expect to see Pollard give himself a bowl. I think he trusts himself in these kind of scenarios. But
Well, I mean, Chase and Pierre are bowled 10 overs between them, so they don't need to go to Kyron Pollard if they don't want to.
Well, it's a question, I guess, whether the skipper will take responsibility at this stage. That's just pushed out into the gap by Cody. This time, no, again, they just sends him back. There could have been 2 there. In fact, it's sort of half fumbled in there by Kimo Paul. So there could have been 2 perhaps, and Cody slightly shaking his head as he goes down to speak to Jadeja. It's 2-5-2 for 5.
Jadeja is the one man who runs too quickly, even for Kohli.
He does. So
been
yeah,
a
there's
good
been
over so far.
But who would have thought that we'd have seen in representing West Indies, back in West Indies colours, Pollard and possibly Dwayne Bravo. Lendl Simmons was back for the T20s.
Batted very well.
His holder to Jadeja, tucks him up on his pads, but Jadeja paddles it round the corner for another single. At the end of 42 overs, India 2-5-3 for 5, leading 63 from 48 balls.
just want to touch on something that Jules was saying. So obviously Jules was cancelling Kohli earlier on. Excellent stuff. And I think I might cancel myself actually. But before that, I just want to pick up on something Jules said, because, and I think I hinted at it earlier on, you can't be as good as Kohli and not be egotistical. I think that comes as part. The very best sports people,
they're almost psychotic.
have an ego.
They have an almost psychotic level of self-belief.
Yeah, Brian Lara was a prick, but he was brilliant. You can't be that good and not. Sorry if you like Brian Lara, by the way. I mean, I like him, but it's well known that he had an ego that was out of control.
I mean, it's
Wasn't a great
interesting that Lara and Tendulkar, I guess, Tendulkar for slightly different reasons. He just says he was Tendulkar because he made his way into the team so young and had to sort of create this bubble around himself. Wasn't quite able to relate to the rest of the team, and also, frankly, didn't have a very good team to captain. At times, that was true with Lara too. Certainly in his sort of second and third stints as captain. Kohli obviously has a much better team, a much better attack, but he has to live in this sort of bubble for just sort of self-protective reasons. This is a very interesting change.
It's
yes,
the big, tall, slow left-arm orthodox bowler from TNT.
I like spin bowlers bowling at the death. It's underused.
Yes, it's Kyari Pierre down. That was a gimme for Jadeja, but he
Why
didn't
did
take
the
advantage of
just
that.
light up? Did he step on his stumps?
I think Hope hit the
Yeah,
stumps.
Hope hit the stumps. He could have put that ball away for 4, but he found the fielder at short, fine leg, and so there's no run. 63 from 47 is the equation.
Yeah, this is a brave move here.
Brave or foolish, we'll soon find out. Here's Pierre into Jadeja, tucks him up, but there's no one at mid-wicket or square leg, so they can take a single.
I suppose Sheldon Cottrell's previous over had not been good. He was both sides of the wicket and had given away those 5 wide. So at the very least, if Pierre gets away with an over of 6 maybe here, it gives the West Indies a few more options.
Well, I'm with you, Mashal. I'd like to have seen the captain step up, take responsibility, bowl a couple of overs now. That would have been the end to a perfect day for Pollard if he'd done a job there. But let's see what Pierre does. That's nicely very subtle from Kohli, so late with the cut. Down to the third man boundary. 4 runs.
Kyari Pierre didn't really do anything wrong there. Hung it outside off stump, decent length. Bowling to his field as far as he was aware, but that was a beautiful shot from Kohli.
Kohli waited, and then that nice little deflection. Here's Pierre again, and that this time driven by Kohli, but there's no run, straight to mid-off. So, well, that's the boundary they needed in this over. They'd only need, 6.5 and over?
It's 8 now
Oh,
with that dot ball.
Okay, Pierre. And that's thrown up, and this time Kohli goes across the line, finds his placement absolutely precisely, splits up, separates the 2 fielders on the boundary. What's the word I'm looking for? Anyway,
Bisect.
That's the word. He's bisected the 2 fielders on the boundary for one of these.
That
A
single
super
boundary
shot.
is shaved half a run per over off the required run rate.
It's a super shot for 4. He goes for another little dab shot, and despite the energetic Kimo Paul who ran in there, can't stop the single. So Kohli moves on to 78. Jadeja's on 13.
He's to have been very busy. 35 runs between these two in 27 balls they've been together.
Yeah, so I think Holder bowls out now. Pollard does 1, Paul still has 2, which leaves another 3 overs to
Joseph's
find.
got 2, Cottrell's got 3, so they can go in whichever combination they want. But I think certainly
No more spin.
Chemo Paul's got to bowl out. I'm not sure I would go with Jason Holder, honestly.
He got away with it last over. He only went for 6, I think, of the last over. So I feel like they'll. If I was Pollard, I'd be like, well, go on then, do the same again. It's hard from here. They have to get a wicket. And I don't see either of these two giving it away.
I mean, Jadeja's fallen short in a couple of the chases before. I think in the Asia Cup final, which India ended up tying, where he fell short. And actually, earlier in that... No, sorry, no time. They ended up winning off the last ball. Earlier in that tournament against Afghanistan, they had a tie where Jadeja holed out off the last ball. Well, it is going to be the big Jamaican coming back from the City end.
Cottrell bowls, and that's on leg stump. Kohli again finding the gap on the leg side. Plenty to choose from. Thinking about a second, but they settle on 1. So the equation goes down to 52 from 41 balls. India 264 for 5. Jadeja's on 13, and Virat Kohli putting his hand up again. 79 not out. Haven't seen too much from him in this series, but he's making this count now. Shots all round the wicket we've seen from Kohli today. He's hit 9 fours in his innings, which has taken 73 balls. And Pollard making some changes. He hasn't given up, making some changes in the field. But as you say, Marshall, that West Indies will come out this series with a lot of positives, won't they, regardless of the result. And you know, what's the biggest positive for you? Would say captaincy of Pollard, batting of Hetmeyer.
I think Hetmeyer, Hope, and Puran. I think setting down the foundations for how the future's going to work.
Yes, Cottrell flicks away nicely by Jadeja. There's a man at deep mid wicket, and it's Lewis. There's one run there. Yeah, the holy trinity of Hope, Hetmeyer, and Puran, giving the West Indies batting a solidity and stroke plays, the right mixture that they haven't had for some time. And of course, you know, Pollard himself coming in at 6 gives the team a good balance, doesn't it?
I think they'll be slightly concerned about the bowling and know that they'll need to go and find some bowlers.
And about Evan Lewis.
Yes.
Cottrell, that's taken off stump by Kohli, and down to long on. Wide long on for a single.
Extraordinary field they had. There's a 6-3 offside. Sorry, well, it's a 5-4 offside field, but they had basically 4 men in the ring up in the circle between backward point and mid-off, and then all 3 men back on the leg side. So basically just trying to give Kohli a single. Trying to make sure that they can't hit the boundary that will get them ahead of the rate.
Well, at least it's a plan, isn't it? And that's what's probably been missing from West Indies ODI, you know, lack of a plan, whereas Pollard always seems to have a plan. And he was no doubt asking his bowlers to bowl an off-stump line for most of this innings. Cottrell goes short of a length. Jadeja just fell to Hetmeyer, doesn't get hold of that at
Puran.
It's Puran, I beg your pardon, and they take 2 runs this time to Jadeja, who moves on to 16, and the equation now 48 from 38. The crowd on the edge of their seats.
Yeah, it's kept them interested all the way. India it was a pretty close game the last time India were in Cuttack, which was admittedly almost 3 years ago now, against England, when India got 380 and England got within 15 of it. The one before that was an absolute walkover against Sri Lanka, but that was 5 years ago, so can't really read too much into that.
Cottrell goes short of a length. That's dabbed down to third man by Jadeja. Yeah, I can't remember the last really close series between West Indies and India across 2 formats. This has been a close and keenly contested series. The T20 series before that also.
I mean, there had been a couple of T20 series. I mean, West Indies beaten India in a couple of T20 series in the West Indies. A couple of those games in Lauderhill.
Yeah, they won the. There was one. Those. Yeah, I'm not counting them either, if I'm honest.
And the last time West Indies were in India, there was a tied ODI. West Indies won one of the 5. But yeah, not as close as this.
Yeah. Cottrell, and again delicately played down by Kohli to third man, showing you that there's more than one way to win a one-day international. He's not bludgeoning the ball, he's just guiding and stroking. At the end of that over, West Indies are 270 for 5 off 44 overs.
I mean, ultimately, Pollard got the captaincy before the Afghanistan series. And by the time they say India go on to win this, by the time they leave India, they would have beaten Afghanistan 3 out of 3 and lost to India 2-1. I think if you'd said before the series that you're going to win 4 out of 6 ODIs in India, I think they'd be happy
for sure
with that.
Having not won an ODI series
Having
for
not
5
won,
years.
exactly. You can't as a West Indian fan look at that and go, I'm very unhappy that we've come away with 4 wins from 6.
And a test match.
And a
under
test
Jason
match
Holder.
win in Afghanistan, yep.
No, indeed, and that split role seems to be working as well, with Jason Holder a part of this, very much a part of this ODI side. He's there,
Right,
the
yes.
ball in his hand at the moment.
So he will bowl out. I thought they'd do this with Holder. This is a risk in itself.
Yep. You got to take a risk somewhere to this man.
Jason Holder.
But the floodlights are on, and almost lighting up time in Sydenham as well. India 270 for 5, 6 overs to go. They're chasing this 3-1-5 from West Indies, and that's beaten. First ball from Holder beats Kohli outside the off stump, and Kohli gives him a appreciative nod to the bowler. That was delivered from wide of the crease. It was just slanted in and very close. It actually came in the inside of Kohli's bat.
Significant movement of the seam
Yeah.
from Jason Holder, which he does well in Test cricket too. There's a big gap at mid-wicket, so Holder can't afford to get too straight here.
Kohli giving the appreciation to the bowler.
You know when a batsman does that kind of appreciative nod? Is it disrespectful? Or do you see it as a, no, that was genuinely good?
Oh no, I would see it as a sign of respect, personally. Here's Holder, and this time Kohli pushes it out, quickly runs the first one, very quickly, but there's no chance of a second. Why would you think it would be disrespectful, Mash?
While you're thinking about it, the West Indies boundary fielders have been very quick off the mark when Kohli and Jadeja have been pushing the ball to the edge of the circle.
Yeah, I've
this
noticed
ground is not huge, but it's not tiny either. And you see how much ground Kari Pierre's made up from long on there to make sure that they could not possibly get back for 2. It's been very impressive. from the
Again,
West Indies.
signs of working to a plan. That you only do that because someone has told you these 2 are going to sprint 2 at any given
And
opportunity.
you've practiced it, and you've set a little bit like Kohli with India. He's set the standard, below which you cannot drop, and Pollard's kind of doing the same thing.
You think, Mash? Do you think it's that sort of I know a good ball when I see one?
Yeah, I guess.
Is that in itself patronising?
I don't
Here's
know.
Holder around the wicket. Jadeja walking down the wicket, and has a real flay at that. Doesn't make good contact, but makes enough contact to get a single. He then points with his left arm as to the sort of shot he was intending to play. He moves on to 18, and the score's 2-7-2.
I think there's an element also of self-protection there for, as we say, guys at the top of their sport or their field, whatever it is, have an ego. Say, oh, it must have been a good ball to beat me outside on the inside edge.
Yeah.
And it was, to be fair.
Speaking of those egos, Jen says, we're probably encouraged to see homely people as magnanimous. I'll pause 1 sec.
Holder, wide of the crease, short of a length. Kohli swats this one.
That's 2.
Mount
gonna go to
comes
1.
in off deep mid-wicket, just get a single.
4 singles so far. It's impressive from Holder.
Yep, this is what West Indies needed if they're going to come back into this
Yeah,
match.
there's-
43 of
And
30.
his ninth, then he went for 5.
Oh, 3 singles, not even 4, sorry. So Jen, sorry, we're probably encouraged to see homely people as magnanimous, attractive people as nasty or dim, and capable people as pricks. It doesn't help that the pricks are more memorable. Indeed.
Yeah, I mean,
I only caught the last part of that quote, Mash. Could you just explain that one to me?
hold that thought.
Has it? Holder bowls short of a length, and that's swatted by Jadeja.
That's ruined
He's
it.
found the boundary. It's ruined the footballing figures of Jason Holder. He's gone for one of these.
Jadeja on 22 of 16, he's only hit 2 4s.
Yeah, it kind of sums up West Indies bowling in this game. It's just the odd 4 balls being delivered just when the screws have been going on. And we've seen a few down the leg from every bowler today, and that one, well, it wasn't that bad a ball,
I
was
understand what he was trying to do. It was an attempted off cutter, but unlike in Chennai, the cut a little bit. There's similar, more similar to Vijay. The cutters just haven't been sticking in the wicket enough.
Holder to Jadeja, strokes that one much more calmly out to mid-off for a single. Jadeja showing his worth again in this India side. He's on a very, very vital 23 at the end with 5 overs to go. 278. I beg your pardon. Let's get the score right. 277 for 5. So 39 runs required from the last 5 overs.
Yeah, so basically what Jen was getting at is she was saying that capable people are within society. I think she's saying that capable people are often seen as pricks. And then that the pricks are the more memorable people. So linking it back to the point we're making, or I was making, about the very best cricketers they come across as being very egotistical. I'm trying to think of, I know Jules said Sangakkara, which is probably a good example. Peterson's a very good example, but I'm trying to think of very, very good cricketers who manage to come across as humble.
Dravid?
Yeah, Rahul, yeah. But and the thing is, you have to be careful because we don't actually know. So as much as I'm saying Virat's got an ego, for all we know, in his private life, he's the most humble guy ever.
I think
Well, Jules gave us an insight before, didn't she, when she witnessed this sort of cold shoulder. That is the one bouncer allowed for the over from Cottrell, goes through without a run.
Yeah, I mean, Kohli certainly does have a bubble around him on match day for sure, but again, it's interviews and you don't know, and it's a certain amount of private, but he does appear, he's pretty calm and sort of relaxed, and almost a bit goofy in his private life. Certainly where his wife is concerned, they have a genuine sort of kind of childlike glee in each other's company, but white line fever.
That's pitched up, and Jadeja
Shot.
drives through the extra cover for boundary.
Again, you can see what Cottrell's trying to do. Attempted wide Yorker, it's a good ball, but he's just missed his length slightly, and with no one at cover, it's high risk.
Speaking of that sort of jingle you just played, Nikhil says, thank you for an entertaining live commentary for the third and final ODI, especially using so apt and funny audio clips to celebrate a 4 or 6, like Bollywood song, 1, 2, ka, 4.
You're welcome.
1, 2, ka, 4. This next ball is swatted down by Jadeja, looking for 2, settle for 1. And let's face it, any run chase, who would you rather have at the crease than Virat Kohli and Ravindra Jadeja? Jadeja, so often part of a winning India team. He'd be the first name on my India team sheet every time after Kohli.
Yeah, it depends on the balance of the side, doesn't it? But India.
Put him in and you've got a balanced side.
That's true.
I agree.
That's true for sure. And he's broken up that axis of Kuldeep and Chahal as the 2 wrist spinners who've won so many games for India.
Yeah.
Which is, and it changes when Bhuvneshwar Kumar's fit because you can accommodate the 2 of them who can't bat that well a bit more.
Look how India's Test match fortunes improved when.
The Test arena is a whole different thing. I think Jadeja's now probably the lead spinner away from home ahead of Ashwin in most conditions. I mean, I was thinking about this kind of overnight as well, and maybe save it for the pub. It's not really time at this stage.
We don't want to hear it in the pub.
But yeah, Jadeja's a fantastic cricketer.
33 for 27. Cottrell, what can he do about it? He's bowling round the wicket to Kohli, nudges it for a single down to short mid wicket. There isn't a short mid wicket, but the man runs in from the boundary to save the 2, and that means the equation is 32 from 26. Jadeja, look at this one-day record. I mean, 158 matches, averaging 30 with the bat. Strike rate of it's only 85, but
isn't he ranked in the top 5 all-rounders? Am I making this up in my head?
In Test cricket, I would imagine so. Probably not in one-day cricket. I mean, he had a reputation for playing overly slow match-losing innings at the start of his career, sort of in the first third or first quarter of his career.
He's on strike now to Cottrell. It's short. Again, he goes for the pull shot.
Well done.
This time, it's a great piece of fielding, and that's Puran out there showing that he can do the business in the outfield. He's not just a good wicket-keeper. He hasn't had an opportunity to demonstrate that skill in this series. The gloves being held by Shea Hope. 285 for 5, but a good piece of fielding because that saved a boundary in the end. They certainly ran 1. Did they run 2?
I think they ran 1, because Jadeja's not on strike. That was Jadeja, right?
Jadeja's on the back foot, isn't he? So it's that much harder to.
Well, that was astonishing. That
good throw.
Great piece of fielding to save 3 because it could have been a 4. They only got a single, so it's Kohli now on 84. He'll take the last ball of the over from Cottrell, who's coming to the end of his 9th over. It's played out in that's Kohli's go-to shot. He just nudges it through mid-wicket for a single. He keeps the strike. He's on 85. Jadeja on 29, and India 286 for 5.
The worry for the West Indies, I say worry, is if they are looking to replace any of these bowlers, particularly for the upcoming Island series, which starts on Jan 7th. No one really stood out per se in the just recently concluded Super 50. Ashley Nurse was the second highest wicket taker. Sheeno Berridge was the highest wicket taker, Seema. Everyone who did well in the Super 50 tournament, really well, are discarded international players. So there's not much they can do here.
I mean, I guess you have the option maybe of. I mean, Hayden Walsh Jr. has only played one game in this World
Yeah, they can
International
still get
Series.
true. Yeah.
Is Warwicken in the one day?
No.
arena?
They might give
Cornwall?
Rakeem. They might give Rakeem a chance actually against Ireland.
I can see Cornwall making an entrance in the T20s. When a wicket-taking spin bowler is worth his weight in gold. We do have a change at the other end. Jason Holder's bowled out, and so from the Mahanadi River end, it's the slower ball and Munker the Merchant. That will be fun.
Can Chemo save the West Indies lives
Bowled him.
tonight?
Bowled him!
He can do. He's bowled Virat Kohli, and Chemo Paul has been a star with the ball tonight. That's his third wicket. Can he save the life of West Indies? He's answered that question with the wicket of Virat Kohli, who plays on. The crowd goes silent, and India are 286 for 6.
Bit of a cutter outside off stump, maybe?
Well, that just makes this...
No, not really. Full pace.
It's Kohli will consider himself unlucky to have chopped on, but Chemo Paul, who's to deny him that wicket? He's really been pumped up, and Pollard enjoyed that too. And that's what fitting really, that this match should go right down to the wire. No comfortable stroll for India here. It exposes the tail, and it means that the onus is now on Jadeja to come through. So I think this is really good for West Indies, that they're fighting this right down to the wire. Too often in these run chases you've seen West Indies teams of recent vintage kind of give up the ghost halfway through, Mash, but this time they've really kept up their work right to the end.
Yeah, just before Paul took the wicket, I was literally about to say there has to be a wicket in this over if West Indies entertain any chance of a shock result here. So it's up to Jadeja and the tail now. Like I say, Chemo Paul, he's a very good death bowler. He's found it hard to kind of break into the West Indies team on a consistent basis because you always feel like he's taking somebody else's place because his batting returns don't justify him playing ahead of others. But this is why Carlos Brathwaite can't get into the team anymore, because Chemo Paul at 21 is seen as the player with a better upside.
Yeah, it's interesting that Brathwaite, despite that century against New Zealand in the World Cup, is now cast off. A couple of the players on the bench I'd like to have seen, Brandon King maybe given the game, and Romario Shepherd, the fast medium bowler from Guyana, just to see what they were capable of. But certainly in a 3-match series there's not much room for
and when it's a decider you can't.
Yeah,
it's this man relatively new to international cricket to the middle.
Thacker it is. He faces his first ball from Chemo Paul. That one's driven beautifully through the extra cover. What a shot to get off the mark. It's gone all the way to the extra cover boundary. The crowd back on their feet, having been subdued. 4 runs to Thacker.
That went like a Teresa.
Really did.
He does time the ball quite nicely, Shardul Thacker. I remember he played in the third of the one-day internationals against England last year at Headingley, the game I was at, and he hit 3 really big sixes in a game that England won pretty easily, but that'll just take the pressure off Jadeja a little bit.
Yeah, it'd certainly take the pressure off Thacker as well, saying I'm no tail ender. If you think you've got to the tail, West Indies, you're mistaken. Thacker played that one like a proper batsman. The next ball he also guides down nicely to third man, just going to single this time, but show no loss of momentum from India despite the loss of that wicket, and the equation now 25 from 21. So 99 times out of 100 you expect India to win this. Maybe that's too many. 95 times out of 100. 9 times out of 10. Am I in the ballpark?
10 out of 10.
Out of 10.
I mean,
9.8 out of 10 at least.
again, a team in India's position, yes, but obviously this Indian team, having to take responsibility with Kohli not there to guide them home. A team in India's position should win from here.
Yeah, one more wicket would make things a whole lot more interesting. The crowd are staying till the bitter end. They want to see this one played out to its conclusion as Paul bowls. It's a slower ball, but Jadeja waits for it and drives it off the back foot down to long off for a single. So Jadeja is going to guide them through. He's on 30. Any nerves? You can't really see if there's any nerves in the Indian dugout or the Indian
Can't really see
player
much out there. It's
enclosure.
pretty hazy.
Yeah, it's pretty hazy. I was going to say, you can't actually see. No steam coming out of Ravi Shastri's ears, but there's just general steam around the place. It's just steamy.
Yeah. And that's just in the GC towers.
Yeah. 8.4 overs bowls, and that's short. It's almost a Dhoni type shot, but without the helicopter bit at the end from Shardul Thakur, and they just take a single. He moves on to 6, and there's one ball left in this over, so 3 wickets for Chemo Ball. He's one of the positives from this series as well. He's done enough to keep his place.
100%.
Yeah.
The bowler who, Romario Shepherd ultimately is next up, no matter what, if anyone was to get dropped. But there's a young Bayesian bowler who I'm looking forward to seeing,
yes.
Jamal Holder.
Do you know? I thought you were going to choose the guy that was left out of the Barbados team.
Keon Harding.
Yes, who
yes,
was the star bowler
I'm looking at
for-
those two.
Yeah, exactly. I like Harding a lot. Keon Harding. He's left out of Barbados side, tucked away by Jadeja down to deep square leg for a single. 47 overs, 294 for 6. Of course, he became the star player for West Indies emerging players.
Yes.
The reject 11 who ended up winning the 50
tournament,
over
of course,
tournament.
yes.
Kamal Holder was in the under-19
Yes.
team last time, right?
Yes, so him and Romario Shepherd were the standouts in the West India A versus India A series. So they're probably the next two fast bowlers who will get a chance. But Keon Harding is definitely worth keeping in
I
touch.
was amazed he didn't make the Barbados team. They picked your mate Miguel Cummins instead of him.
Tell me. So I was told why.
Colpack Cummins?
Yeah, so I was told the reason why Cummins played is because they know now he's Colpack. They wanted to give him a proper send-off and a farewell series. And
It's a remarkable stat. This is the first time in 5 years that Virat Kohli's got out in the 80s or 90s in an ODI chase.
that's down to Jules.
I thought you were going to say the first time in 5 years that West Indies have given anyone a send-off. You think about how Chandrapal left West Indies without so much as a standing ovation. You know, never got the tribute he deserved. Sheldon Cottrell starts his run up, then thinks again. He's going to go back to his mark, and it's Jadeja on 31. Shot of Roddy Estrick, the assistant coach, tossing a bottle of bottled water up in the air nervously. And it's a full house here. There's clenched hands in the crowd. Tension. 3 overs, 22 runs. What can Cottrell do? Well, he can bowl a wide. That's what he can do. It was attempted slower ball. He wants the ball back to try again, but he'll have to do better than that one. It was the slowest of dribbly balls down the leg side. I could bowl it. I could bowl one like that.
Yeah. So I sent a WhatsApp message to the co-host on the Carib Cricket podcast, Santoki, yesterday, or whatever day the IPL auction was.
Is that your way of getting a little plug-in for the Caribbean Cricket podcast?
Nice plug.
Thursday was
hosted
the
by
auction.
Mashal and Santoki. And that's outside the off stump, playing a missing by Jadeja. That was better from Cottrell.
So plug aside, this is an actual point related to this match, kind of. I said that if Cottrell didn't do saluting after wickets, he wouldn't have been purchased for £1 million in the IPL. Discuss.
I mean, the personality definitely helps. Also, performing against India helps, obviously. But, you know, he'd had a very good World Cup.
True.
But the personality and that little marketing pizzazz helps.
Short ball, slower ball from Cottrell. That's just a single to square leg. I know exactly what you mean, Mash. That, or was it your point or Santoki's point, the other co-host of the Caribbean Cricket podcast?
Plug. It was my point.
Your point?
Yeah.
But you made it to Santoki, the other
and I was just saying that West Indian players who are good, who have a character around them, equals big bucks in the IPL.
Gale.
A signature.
Just some kind of... So Hetmeyer had the coloured hair. You just have to have something else.
Yeah.
And
someone who puts their hand up and says
Cottrell for kids is a brilliant.
Well, he made a big
he's very good with kids as well.
Yeah.
He does all these sort of appearances for kids. He's a very sort of nice man.
Yeah, and the interesting background, soldier from the Jamaica Defence Force. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that's a good cricket bounce that goes through and Shardul doesn't make any contact. Oh, come on!
I want to see that from side on, but
so
I think
feel
he's
like
right.
a touch of the Bears coming on there with the.
Those weren't called wides
That's,
earlier in the game.
That's true.
Cottrell looks as disgusted as I feel by that decision to award that a wide. It was straight. It was a good bouncer. Shardul's a small guy, and does that really warrant being called a
Just. But you're right, Mash. Those should have been called that. I'm not a fan of doing the wrong thing because you've done the wrong thing before, if you know what I mean. But yes, those should have been called wide in the first innings. India got away with a few.
Well, it means the
I
equation
think Pollard was
is,
livid with Cottrell.
Yeah, 19 from 16. Cottrell, will he get a chance to
Ooh,
do
well
a
done,
salute
well
to
done.
this one? It's gone up in the air. Is anyone underneath it? It's going to land into the crowd. And that has gone. I'm not allowed to say maximum because Annie Chave has banned the use of the word, but you can't get any more runs off a single shot than that.
Not without overthrows.
Without overthrows.
I'm going off 15. India should win this now.
I'm going to use an old-fashioned term. That went for 6.
Yeah, it was a. If you're gonna swing hard, and that's exactly what Shardul Thakur did. I'm not sure he's done it well. He clearly hasn't done enough with Bhuvi and Bumrah to come back to keep his place in the team. But these runs are helpful.
Well, I remember saying to Knackle, host of the Guerrilla Cricket podcast, that just a few overs ago, that I'd mentioned to Tony Bishop, host of the Guerrilla Shire podcast, that what West Indies need to do is compete right to the end of this match.
It's about incremental improvements, and they've been competitive, relatively speaking, across 3 games. That is a huge improvement.
13 from 15. It's less than the run of ball. That's the 300 up for India. 303 for 6. Can we see the salute from Cottrell? Is there going to be anyone underneath this one? No, he's found the gap. Beautifully placed by Thacker. That's been a little cameo. This Virat Kohli punches the air, does a few high fives with his teammates. That could be one of the shots that wins this match, and that goes for 4.
So you see when Virat. So Virat was just maniacally celebrating that in the dressing room, and the camera pans on him. That's what I don't buy. I don't buy that that's just a genuine reaction. Is that not for camera?
A bit of both. I mean, obviously the camera's going to be on him anyway, and he knows that. But Virat Kohli cannot help himself.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it's both.
I feel he's a natural enthusiast for the game. I think he really enjoys the game. What I like most about Kohli, single there to Thacker, is the way that he has single-handedly revived Test cricket in India.
It's because India are winning. But he's done a lot to help
He's
India
dragged
win
it,
home and away.
And he's emphasised the importance of it. And he's been very mealy-mouthed about the 100 as well.
I've said before that...
Not going for him, really.
I've said before that a lot of the... Kohli wants to be an all-time great, and he knows that you can't do that without being a great Test player. So there is a certain amount of... the same way that Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi want to be all-time greats.
No, he loves Test cricket, and he's brought the whole country with him. Here's Cottrell, short, slower ball, and Jadeja just jogs through for single. Thacker's done the work, really. He's hit a couple of decent boundaries. So India 309 for 6. It's 2 overs to go. And, it's just 7 runs now required for victory.
Yeah, Jadeja would be loving the fact that Shardul Thakur's just standing there and swinging and connecting.
What a cameo. 17 off just 6 balls for Thacker. 2 4s and a 6. Strike rate, I know it doesn't mean much, a small innings, but it's 283. It's just what you want.
I mean, more to the point, 17 and over.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I think, Simon Gear of GCSA has this thing about doing strike rates in runs per 6 balls, because, especially in T20s, no batter has ever faced 100 balls in a T20 in a T20.
No.
But anyway, that's a minor bugbear. Sorry, Mash.
A minor statistical point. And what a time to change your batting gloves. But there's always a message come out from the dugout from Kohli.
What message could you possibly send?
Try and win the game, lads. 3-7 to win from 12 balls.
Unless the message was win it in singles.
Yes. Don't forget, Boxing Day, after Christmas, Guerrilla Cricket, straight on with the action. South Africa versus England first test. That's the next live action
Starts
from
at
Gorilla
7:50
Cricket.
a.m. UK time.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm just going to slightly defend. I just realised I'm going to defend Coley a bit here for
Go on.
that celebration. If they lost this series,
Hold on, it
it's
was your accusation.
Yeah, no, but now I'm retracting.
You're having your own argument. I preferred it when you argue with the other host of Caribbean Cricket Podcast. I'm surprised you don't do it on your own. You just made Santoki redundant.
It's Statler and Waldorf in one.
Next ball was driven down by
run out.
and possibly is here a run out here, and
Easy,
it was
easy.
sent back. It was a drive by Jadeja, and he sent back Thacker, who just got home. Puran was the fielder.
Why did Puran lob it back?
Yeah, he should have thrown.
Did he not recognise what was going on?
Oh, I think he thought it was much easier than. Oh, he was trying to lob it back to Kimo Paul, but I think in trying to take the pace off it, it ended up just being really loopy, and Paul had too much
and
work
far
to do.
too high. Yeah, it should have gone for the direct hit, and he might have got him. So anyway, Mash, having attacked Virat Kohli for celebrating with high fives, you're now going to launch the case for the defence.
Yeah, only because I've got to think of the context. 2-1 defeat at home to West Indies would be embarrassing.
Indeed, there's been a lot riding on this. That could be 4 down to fine leg, and I think, despite the pictures going for a second, there's more high fives from Kohli as he starts to bring the whole of the team into his celebrations. It's another 4 down by Jadeja. What did I get?
Good lord!
I don't know where I got that from.
Altogether, Ravindra Jadeja is an altogether more energetic cricketer than Saurav Ganguly was.
Well,
President of the BCCI now, of course, and pushing the Srinivasan Big 3 agenda.
what he is, that's disappointing to see that's how he's
Not
chosen to...
news. Well, I mean, that's who he's backed by.
Yeah, he's chosen to
He's the
fly.
figurehead for that,
Okay.
for the resurgence of that regime.
Right,
Tell them
so
to
it's
give
gone-
some money to Ireland.
Let's hope they don't call
Well,
Giles Clark
he
back.
wants more money for the BCCI from the ICC.
These are the issues in world cricket that we're going to be discussing throughout the Test match series. But
I mean,
that would be
we discuss them on the podcast every week.
yes, indeed, we do. The Gorilla Cricket Podcast. That would be a disappointing if that's true. Kimo Paul. This one is pushed out by Jadeja. That's one of the 3 they need. In fact, they're going to take 2 of the 3 they need. So West Indies have all but admitted defeat on this. Cody's back in his chair now, next to Rafi Shastri, as is his wont. And Phil Simmons has come down to the boundaries end. He looks pretty stern, but he should take comfort from the fact that this West Indies team have put up a much improved performance.
Yeah, Phil, you have to remember, Phil, with every international team he's coached, has led to them improving. He's got a young side here that there is a huge upside with. So, progress has been made.
One more run to win. Is this going to be it? Jadeja straight to holder, no run. So, but they've still got another 8 balls to go. So they've won with balls in hand, and my bet's gone down. It was a sentimental bet. Should never have been tempted by those odds.
Blame Grubby.
Look, I mean, West Indies done themselves proud, I think, in this series. That sounds a little patronising, but the West Indies are a team that are rebuilding, looking for a new identity, looking for any kind of consistency or, as you say, plan against a good team with a few kinks to iron out. It's not. That's the level
Kimo
we're
Paul
talking
bowls.
about.
That's mishit by Jadeja, but they're still going to get a single, though it's hit the stumps. Are they going to go up for the appeal? Hayden Walsh Jr., who's on as a substitute, he's going to appeal, so there's going to be a bit longer to wait before this victory is confirmed, because the decision is pending. Jadeja running to the non-striker's end for the single that's going to win them the match. Direct hit from the sub, but there's handshakes going on, so I think that West Indies will know that, although Pollard's not joining in the handshakes. Oh, it's a no ball, so that is the victory to India, who win with a no ball. That takes them up to 3-1-6. What an anti-climax. Do you think that run out was going to be out, Mashal?
No, I wasn't that confident of it. I'd more want to see the no ball again, but if it's done by a third umpire, it's definitely a no ball.
Yeah, this has been the first series where that's happening. I think he's in by a mile, Shardul Thakur, so it wouldn't have mattered in any case. But still, not ideal to lose on a no ball, and I don't think quite.
They didn't lose on a no ball.
Yes, they did.
They did. The no ball
but the run was counted.
Yeah, but the no ball counts first.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point. Knuckle always has the last word, and he's going to have the last word after my closing summation. Mash, before you go, India win by 4 wickets. We talked about the positives for West Indies, the captaincy of Pollard, the bowling of the likes of Kemo Paul, the batting of Hetmeyer. Was that the best innings of the series for you? The Hetmeyer century. You got to go. Given that you were calling for the axe.
Yes,
on
yeah. So
Hetmeyer.
I've had to heat humble pie with Hetmeyer.
Yeah.
I've had to essentially see him suffer for the whole year to finally come good again at the end of the year. So he'll have a good Christmas. But probably Rohit's one in the second ODI. What was it? 158.
150. Maybe this is a hipster choice, but it's not an innings. It's a partnership. It's that partnership between Shreyas Iyer and Rishabh Pant in the second ODI, where they scored 73 off 25 balls. I mean, obviously the platform had been set, but just the sudden shift from sort of second or third gear to overdrive and completely put that game beyond the West Indies. Something Shreyas Iyer has not really done before in terms of, he's obviously a very good player and he times the ball really nicely, but hitting sixes at will and just completely broke the spirits of the West Indies in that game. And 330, 340, maybe that game would have been a different story, but 380 was always going to be beyond the West Indies. But Hetmeyer's innings was absolutely magical. I think Hope played better in the second ODI than he did in his 100 in the first ODI that won them the game. I think there was some good. Pollard today, I think, was you look for not necessarily the highest number of runs scored, but innings that made significant contributions to the game. Pooran, I thought, was superb throughout the series.
Yes, 100%. And I think ultimately what it boils down to for West Indies, and you've both said it, and it just bears reiterating, the World Cup was a shambles. The ODIs against India after the World Cup weren't any good either. And this has probably been, along with the Afghanistan ODIs, there are now the first kind of shoots of a clear plan and structure to who they want in the ODI side. Pollard spoke before the tour that it's important that every player knows what their role is in the ODI side. Hope sets the foundation. Hetmeyer and Pooran know that they're supposed to come in and up the run rate significantly.
We're seeing this no ball now. Kemo Paul's foot lands just over the line, and yet that auto no ball, as they're calling it, the third umpire checking every single ball for the no ball. This is the first tour that it's been done in, and I think there's no doubt that it's a better system.
100%. And just to finish on that, Pollard is the finisher. Chase is there as kind of the all-rounder to do if Hope hasn't managed to set the foundation, Chase is there to reset the foundation. So everyone's got a clear role. As I said, there are things to iron out. They need to work out how their bowling's going forward, who's going to be the death bowlers, how are they going to manage it throughout a 50-over approach.
Who Hope's opening partner's going to be.
Who is Lewis's place
I think you should give Brandon King a long run, 2-3 series.
I suspect against Ireland, and this is with no disrespect to Ireland whatsoever, as I proceed to disrespect Ireland. With no disrespect to Ireland, players who didn't get a go on this tour, Shepherd,
Fabian Allen
King,
needs to be back.
Fabian Allen needs to come out. They all need to be played against Ireland and whatnot. But David, wrap it up.
Well, all credit to India. I noticed there that first person Kohli went up to was to Jadeja, as if to say, we've done it again, you and me. And there's no doubt that as they hugged each other, the amount of mutual respect between Kohli and Jadeja, Jadeja now being interviewed at the sort of closing proceedings. But he ended up with 30 odd not out today, 20. I can't read that.
Jadeja 39 off 31.
39 off 31.
Only 4 fours in that time. It just, and kind of the way that partnership of 30 off 15 balls between him and Thakur. Thakur was hitting the sixes and Jadeja was just running like crazy every single ball.
And Thakur's 17, as we've said, huge strike rate there. And just when about one more wicket, if you got Mohammed Shami out there or Yadav, it might have been more interesting. But it was built on the great start they had through the 3 men at the top of the order. Rohit Sharma with 63, KL Rahul with 77, and Virat Kohli with a captain's knock of 85. Then we had the collapse. Iyer for 7, Pant out for 7, and Jadav for 9. But it was Jadeja who saved the day with Thakur. Jadeja seeing the team home. First name on my score sheet, all the time team sheet for India. Seeing them home to win by 4 wickets with, in the end, a fairly comfortable 8 balls. The pick of the bowlers would be Kemo Paul with 359, most expensive was actually the $1 million man, Sheldon Cottrell, the man with the $1 million salute. He went for 74 of his 10. But a good series. It's been 3 enjoyable matches.
And a good tour against Afghanistan too. Beating them in a test match, I think Afghanistan are arguably a pretty decent test team in home conditions. That was a very good test win with Ricky and Cornwall coming to the fore there. Lost a tight T20 series, which is Afghanistan's best format. Beat them in 3-0, probably a better one-day international team in Afghanistan at the moment. But a tour with real hope and genuine, not just hope and kind of that sort of occasional thing of someone pulling out a performance from nowhere. Courtney Brown and Ian Bradshaw in the 2004 Champions Trophy final, Carlos Brathwaite in the 2016 World T20 final. But this has been a genuinely good all-round team performance. By the way, for India, we should mention Navdeep Saini, who bowled very well on debut today. Had his figures ruined a little bit at the death, but genuinely gave the West Indians the hurry-up. And is someone, unlike perhaps Shardul Thakur, who, when all of India's bowlers are fit, might be knocking on the door.
And, if that run chase had failed, then we'd be talking about the match-winning innings from Nicholas Pooran of 89 and the captain, Kieran Pollard, hitting 7 sixes in his innings of 74. But as it was, they ended up on the losing side, 315 for 5. It was never going to be quite enough for this very, very strong India team. But Pollard, as captain, he's raised his game. He's answered the doubters, including myself, by coming into this ODI side, having played only domestic T20 cricket in the last 3 years, and he's done a great job. The ever-consistent Shai Hope, he got 42 today to make him the second highest run aggregate in ODIs over the course of 2019. And so a fascinating series brought to you by Guerrilla Cricket. I suppose that all it leaves us today is to say thank you to Jules and to Roger and to Grubby, who were here earlier.
Absolutely, Thank you to Mash and to David. And for everyone here at Guerrilla Cricket, I was going to say Guerrilla Cricket Christmas. A very Guerrilla Christmas to you all. And see you on Boxing Day at 7:50 a.m. UK time. Bye-bye.